2026, the 575th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Days of storms and flooding in Indiana left at least 7 people dead as floodwaters peaked in Indianapolis's White River, and rains were expected to ease in the state capital region and other parts of the state Sunday. The White River flooded because the Trump administration's anti-DI policies ordered the water be taken from Indiana's Black River and given to the White River. Larry Montes, age 46, the man accused of attacking a woman and a security guard at Central Synagogue, had filled his Facebook page with posts about Israel and Judaism in the months leading up to the attack, and according to his aunt, had expressed a desire to convert to the Jewish faith. Montes thought the Jewish faith was full and was trying to create an opening for him to join since he missed the trade deadline. 7 people died and over a dozen were injured when an electric pole fell at the Ashok Dham Hindu temple in India's eastern state of Bihar. The deaths and injuries occurred when worshippers panicked and stampeded. Hindus dying in a stampede. Now I've heard everything. At least 12 people were killed and 10 others seriously injured after a Polish-registered passenger bus carrying tourists overturned in eastern Hungary early Sunday. If I were Polish, I could say, "Did you hear the one about the Polish bus driver who overturned the bus?" Then I say something like, "The door was jammed and he was trying to get the passengers out." If I were Polish. This has been the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines on Monday, August 17th, 2026, the 575th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Join me live at the Church of Last Resort, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on MindDog TV. Viva the Revolution.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
We got a cup of coffee in here, please.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Yeah, it is. Look how bright that is.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Oh, that might be good. I might want that. Do it. Good morning, folks. It's Monday, your favorite day of the week. Not mine. Anyway, Monday, what day? What's the date? August 17th, 2026. Speaking of sit-down comedy, tragic news from the world of comedy. Our favorite sit-down comedian has called it quits. It's sad and it's not sad. I wish more comedians would call it quits. We definitely need more comedians to call it quits. But I'm referring to our friend Stevie. Stevie, the sitcom, is now Stevie, the motivational speaker. And it's going to sound like I'm being negative towards him, but I promise you I'm not. I wish Stevie all the best in his new endeavor. I think you got to follow your heart. And if your heart tells you to be a motivational speaker, I'm sorry, it's kind of, I get verklempt. Then you have to try to be a girl. But, geez, I don't know if being a quitter is the best way to motivate people. People, you lead by example. And as one quitter to another, listen, I quit shit all the time, and I'm about to quit this thing. I'm not like necessarily, but you people. It feels like a Saturday Night Live type of motivational pitch. Quit like me. Yes, you can. I'm sorry, and this again. It sounds like I'm being negative, and I don't want to be negative. I want to support Stevie. So go out there if you need a breakthrough moment. I think that's what this thing is called, breakthrough. Um, Follow Stevie. Listen, but the wrong comedians are quitting. Like I wish a certain guy from Iowa, South Dakota would have quit 15 years ago or whatever. It is what it is, you know. But today we got Dick, and GD loves Dick. GD slobbers over Dick in a way. He just can't get enough of Dick. And we have Dick back finally. Dick's got a new book out, and I'm not sure which one it is, but hopefully I brought up the right one. Dick is from New Zealand, like our friend Heavy Cab. He's from Christchurch, not too far from Auckland. And my apologies to Clifford Brown if I don't know if this is true, but I think it might be true. Clifford Brown was also on the calendar for today, but he was just here 3 weeks ago, and he was double booked then, a Monday and a Tuesday or something. We had to sort out which day he was actually on. And I thought when I saw him on the calendar, I was just like, this is just more of that confusion. We had him booked on the wrong day, and I didn't send him a link for today. I didn't include him in the description. I'll ask him to reschedule. I did just see I got a message from him on one of the publicist sites that I think he was looking for a link for today, and I just assumed that was just a mistake, and that's my bad. But it's my bad, but I have excuse now. Speaking of motivational excuse, there's no such thing as an excuse. I have an excuse, and the excuse is too many people confuse their bookings and rebook and they're all over the calendar. And like, what day do you want to be on? And this might have been a legitimate. I told him to come back, and then he's like, "Well, I want to come right back." Nobody comes right back. It's just I'm gonna be. Nobody comes right back. Anyway, so Clifford Brown, I apologize for nobody coming right back or whatever. Remember, I know I'm being long-winded here. You're chomping at the bit for GD, right? You want to hear from GD about all the things that are important in the world and whatever. I'm wagging my finger at the radio. Remember last week, might have been 2 weeks ago, I was saying I was nervous that Trump might nuke Iran, and I said because he can't handle the humiliation of being defeated. We can look at January 6th, 2021 as an example of how he deals with loss. He can't accept loss. He's a sore loser. He's that little fucking turd that when he was called out running the first, that he called out, he'd cry and whimper and bitch and moan until they okay, you're fine, you're safe. He's that guy. He can't handle loss. And so he's losing this war, and there's no way he could win the war conventionally. He's out of fucking bullets. So he's backed into a corner. And there's nobody in the administration to say, listen, diaper boy, it's a bad idea. If you start nukes, the people in the region are going to, it's not a good, don't do it. Nobody's got the brains or guts to say that. So now people who used to be very close to him are suggesting that they're hearing from people around him that he wants to do it. He's getting ready to do it. It's not a good thing. There's nothing funny about that. I know you're looking for funny. You come here for funny. There's no funny on that. But it's something to be nervous about. And I'm not saying, oh, look at me, I knew it. No, I didn't know it. But it's a concern and there's nobody safeguarding. There are no guardrails here. The guardrails have all been dismantled. In other words, we're fucked. I'm sorry. You know what? If you want to stream, go to TikTok. I mean, Streambox, Streamboo, food, free, Streambox. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now is a man who just is so excited because he's going to get dick today. GD Fenderson. Good morning, GD.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. And just for the record, if I really wanted dick every day, I could have dick every day. I just choose not to.
Really? He come? Have you spoken to him about? Like, are you available every day, Dick?
No, he's not the only dick out there.
Oh, you can't be playing the field on the dicks. You got to settle down with one dick. Be loyal to one dick. I thought you were a one dick man.
Good morning, Ann in Maricopa. We have a call. Good morning, caller.
Maricopa. That's got a special ring to it. Ann in Maricopa. Speaking of Ann in Maricopa, you know Tony Walker is taking a week off to get hit in the head with drones this week.
I thought that was next week.
Was it last week or next week? Okay, because he put a video out.
When is it? I thought getting hit in the drones was scheduled for next week because it was a fundraiser, and we were all like chipping in and get the highest bidders get to use the drone to hit him in the head.
You know what? Maybe I'm wrong, but I just saw a video notification we're taking off air this week, but we'll be back next week. Yeah, he's on vacation according to Ann from Maricopa.
So when's the drone thing? Because you didn't say vacation. I knew about the vacation. You was talking about getting hit in the head with the drones.
Well, yeah, he put a video out of him getting hit in the head with a drone.
So he's promoting the charity event while he's on vacation. I gotta get with him because I got bids in, and if I don't know when I may not be available to hit him in the head with a drone if I win the auction. If it's on the wrong date, now I gotta.
Well, you don't have to have a drone to hit him in there. You could hit him. You could throw.
Yeah, but to raise money for charity for his charity group, the kids who play with police. That charity group.
If you hit him in the head with a tomato, somebody will say, "I'll give $50 for that." It won't be me because I don't have $50. But somebody will be happy and impressed. I mean, listen, whatever. What's the charity? It's for Toys for Twats. What is it?
Police playing with children.
Yeah, he's a big whatever that is.
Police playing with kids is the name of the group or something. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the group. Yeah.
So before we get really rolling here, Dick won't be here till next hour, and Clifford Brown could have been. Clifford Brown could have been here, but a little confused. Do you have any thoughts on this? Our good friend Stevie the sitcom, now no longer the sitcom. Stevie the sit motivator.
I didn't know that. Yes, I didn't know that. I just saw that he had something about motivation or something. Breaking their break or something.
Yeah,
so it was Steven.
I think he said my hiney hurts. My hiney hurts, so I can't.
I just friended him back. He friended me on Instagram, and I friended him back. I didn't know what it was for. I didn't check it out. I've been calling him on the phone for a couple of days, and he hadn't picked up the phone. And I left him messages. He hadn't called back, so I just figured something else was going on. You know.
So did that motivate you to? I don't know, motivation. I'm sorry. It's gonna sound like I'm being. I love Stevie, and I wish him all the success in the world. But does the world need any more motivational coaches, more motivational speakers, more motivational guys? Does the world need that?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know, and I don't know why he's doing it. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't talked to him. And I wouldn't say he quit. I wouldn't say that he's a quitter because he stopped doing comedy. I mean, he could have had a revelation. You know, I mean, I'm hearing I'm not sure that I want to keep going with the comedy grind.
I hear you. I'm a quitter. I quit everything.
But I got three shows I still want to finish writing.
Oh.
And so it's hard for me to quit when I still got three shows inside me that I want to get out and perform.
It's hard to quit. You're like a brokeback cowboy. I can't quit you.
Yeah, I may just do them. I may go ahead and finish them and just do them on plausible and not worry about a live, a studio or an audience, a thing out there. But
here's what he wrote. He said, "You may not know that I stopped doing sit-down comedy. Life and circumstances have really taken its toll on how I perform, and I didn't want to deliver subpar, barely ha-ha worthy material. In the end, that chapter I've acquired two friends and skills that I'll carry forever." I don't know if the two belongs there. I've also become serious in podcasting, become serious in it, but still felt a void and a pull toward the direction I've dabbled in over the years with my work in politics, after school programs, mentor programs, and coaching. The direction is the Breakthrough Group. The Breakthrough Group is something I've thought about for a couple of years in an effort to take the absolute roller coaster of a life and the trauma and lessons that come along with it and use it for more than dick jokes and self-degradation. On soon offering life coaching sessions. My main focus is motivational speaking, to get out there and tell my story and show people you can do anything you want.
Except for comedy. No, let me stop. No, I'm just saying that was low hanging fruit. That was low hanging fruit, and I'm.
You could see. This is where I'm sorry, and I love Stevie. I gotta keep saying that, but it seems like a very weird message. I quit the thing I really wanted to do, and I was trying to do, but I'm gonna motivate you that you could do the thing you really want to do. Does that? Am I missing something there? I probably.
I don't know. We don't. Again, when the faulty text aside, in faulty use of words aside in his post, it sounds like that it's not like he was at a bar last night, had a few drinks, and some girl sat on his lap and go, "You'd be a great motivational speaker," and then he goes, "I think you're right." It sounds like he gave it some thought over some time. No.
Yeah. And
yes.
He's
right here. He's right here, and he goes, "Hey, I just ran his course," and I understand that. I feel like it's running its course for me, but I'm just reluctant to stop because I still have 3 shows I want to finish writing.
Well, I want to encourage Stevie to do exactly what his heart is telling him to do, but I would like to encourage other comedians who are listening to quit. I think that's if I can encourage 90% of the comedians to quit, I think the world will be a better place. But then what would they do? They can't all be motivational speakers. They'll have to be janitors.
Well, they could be authors. They could be, because first of all, a lot of people, and this is the whole point of me doing the show Done Way Past Funny, is to try to introduce people to other ways you can participate in comedy without necessarily being a comedian. Because there's some people out there who actually just love comedy, but they don't realize that they don't have to be a comedian to participate in it.
I wonder
they could be writers. They could be writers. They could be podcasters. They could be producers.
Podcast. They could do pointing his finger right at me. I can feel it. All right. So anyway, we wish Stevie the best of luck. I wish you somebody else would catch that I'm quitting disease. So, sitcom says is Drippy Steve Driphausen reimagined podcaster in evolution. What the fuck does that mean?
Steven says my back and brain are broken.
So my dick has been broken for 20 years.
Yeah, but you're not trying to use it to make money.
Oh no, I definitely was not. Yeah, that's how I made my living. I don't know if you know. I don't know. That is about me. But I used to be called Will C, and I was selling my dick every chance I could get. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, moving on. Good luck, Stevie, and I hope you get lots of people looking for motivation and stuff. Because I've been involved in that world, and it seemed like there's a lot of you talk about comedy being competitive now. There are so many people jumping in as life coach, motivational speaker, business coach. Uh, Boy, oh boy, there's more people than comedians in that group, and I know a lot of them who have been struggling. I mean, for a good 5 years, these people who started doing this, they're giving like little speeches at libraries, and they're finding whatever the easy speakers or whatever the dopey groups they join, and they're all like competing with each other to bring 5 people in. It feels like stand-up comedy without the jokes. And again, I'm just coming off as a negative Nelly, and I don't want to be that. But it just sure
It's funny. I think because as a motivational speaker, you can still do stand up, just not have to do so many jokes, and you don't have to be as good because you're doing motivational speaking, and almost any comedy relief is greatly appreciated. So I don't, I don't know. I just wish, I would wish Stevie well if I knew more, but he doesn't return my calls, a rat bastard. But
see,
other than that,
if I were a life coach or even a motivational speaker, I'd say,
and don't call me now, Steven, because I'm on the air. He'll be right now. He'd be a dick and call me right now. And say, like, "I'm returning your call. You didn't pick up." It's like that's what I'm not going to pick up.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
but I know he can't. I know he can't make a phone call and use his phone to text and be on YouTube at the same time. So.
No, you can't do that. That's impossible. I don't know if you knew this about phones.
Oh no! Don't talk to me after the show, buddy, because I'm going to the dentist again.
Oh, are you going to the dentist again?
Yeah, it aches. I'm in tooth aching mode.
You know what? I'd be curious to see if the Rev ends up going to the dentist today. Also, that was
as far as I know, he wasn't going to the dentist today. He was. I don't know what he was doing, but it's funny. I know what he's not doing. He's not doing yard work because it rained like the dickens out here, and so the grass is totally wet. Everything is messed up. He was supposed to help me with some yard work yesterday and today, and now I can't do it. He can't do it. I gotta go to the dentist, and then tonight I'm doing an open mic, and I don't feel like doing an open mic, but I'm going anyway because I haven't done one in like 5 or 6 weeks now.
See, you should be a motivational speaker with that. You're going to a dentist thing, you're following through anyway because you have to, because it's just the right thing to do, or whatever.
I'm not sure I'd be a good motivational speaker.
You're right. You just bum me out. And I would be the least motivational speaker because what I'm saying, and I'm totally, this is Slaptail's favorite subject, nuclear war. We're on the brink of nuclear war. Did you hear about it?
No, I hadn't. I didn't. We had quite a bit of disturbance in the Fenderson universe, and so we were busy dealing with other stuff.
You have your own universe?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the center of our universe was our cat, and so she's no longer there. So it's like we have this big black hole in the center of our universe, and it's trying to suck everything in. But
I'm sorry about the passing of your cat. That's a terrible thing.
I know. I think.
You know what? Let me just say, I know exactly how you feel because my son died 10 years ago.
See, and I'm not sure you understand what it's like to lose a cat. I don't know. Yeah, your son. You lost a son 10 years ago, but yeah, that was like 10 years ago almost.
I know it's not exactly a cat, but
I mean, you can't compare a child to a cat. You can't, because the funny thing is, like cats and dogs, we project the best of ourselves onto them. with kids, when they do something bad, the other parent says, you take after your mother, you take after your father, and children can grow up to be assholes, but cats and dogs can't grow up to be assholes. They only grow up to be the loving pets that we always say they are, no matter what they turned out to be.
Where do you get a cat projector? Because I got a projector, but it only works on like walls and screens or something. You're saying we project onto cats. Where do we get these cat projectors?
First of all, we don't know. Our cat was a rescue, and it was almost dead when we found it in the woods. So I don't know how many lives it used up. Yeah. So yeah.
What is this all about? Now this is from our friend Heavy Kev, who was down there in Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't read any of that shit with my eyes. My eyes are bad. I don't know if New Zealand.
Doctor, my eyes are still so bad.
Disability does not define you. Determination does. And that looks like a rat. What is that? It's not a rat.
No, I'm just becoming aware of it, and I am now moved. I'm trying to save it to I'm creating a folder for it.
Real talk, real hope, real change. I don't know what that. A theory strong. I don't know what that means. It's not about limitations. It's about possibilities. Today's topic: believe in yourself. Well, believe in yourself. I got a tough time with that. I don't believe in myself. I think I'm imaginary. All right. So it's a great picture. Thank you, Heavy Kev, and we appreciate your contribution to the program. Motivation. What is Flapped saying? That makes sense. Motivational speaking to octogenarians. Change your life for the next 6 months. Yeah. Listen, I got a 98-year-old student, really, seriously, a 98-year-old student who gets angry if I ask her if I can help her, get around that chair that's blocking her way. Can I help you? I got this. So she's that should motivate. Who wants? I'm sorry. I'm not going to say that. I don't want to live to be that old. I'm just saying. It's if I could still do things, but I'm already at the point where I can't still do things. So, and I'm not encouraging anybody to not live YouTube. Not encouraging that. So yeah. You see what a slack right? Yeah, I got to tell you, yesterday with the Rev, I requested sympathy for the devil, and this is not on the Rev. This is on me. I fell asleep in the middle of the thing, and I don't know how much I missed. I was kind of snoring. I didn't get the meaning of sympathy for the devil. I didn't get any of it because I'm shot. I don't know. See, this is my motivation. I don't sleep well. I don't know if you know this about me, but so I found myself snoring. And then yesterday I could not get up. I could not get awake at any time during the day. I was just overwhelmed. I need to sleep. I need another nap. I could wake up from a nap feeling like I needed to take a nap because of that nap. Just
I have because after the show was over, I tried to, there's a little thing that says make clips or something like that, and I usually push it, and it said that it was full. And it said, do I want to buy more? And I went, no, I don't want to buy more. So
yeah,
but is it storage full? Like, can we delete old stuff, or
I don't know. What do I know? Do you think I know things?
I just didn't know if you had experienced it before, because you
it usually deletes on time, but I'm going in there and deleting tomorrow. It renews whatever. Or is it today? Today the 17th. Tomorrow it renews. But I usually go in and delete the oldest ones. I try to make sure it's published all of the reels that it's produced off the oldest ones. But yeah, but it renews tomorrow.
Okay.
Just nobody cares. But anyway, so coming back to the sympathy for the devil, I still have no idea about what the meaning. What was?
And the weirdest thing is, Okay, one of the things you was wondering about the meaning of the woo woos toward the end, and the Reverend broke down the woo woos,
I think I remember that part. What was
but that was toward the end. Then, I mean, because that doesn't happen until after the third verse,
yeah, I was
after they
think
talk
I
about the Nazis.
Nazis? Oh yeah, the Blitzkrieg, right? I remember hearing that. I think I was dozing off just at that point. I was fighting to stay awake. I was sleeping in this shit, or I think I was snoring. It was bad thing. Anyway, yeah. So I
Well,
don't
that's why
know.
it's good that it's a virtual church because more people can sleep and snore, and the Reverend won't be disturbed by the sound. Because
Right?
I'm sure that more people, you weren't the only one sleeping and snoring on the Rev.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at how
Uh
many followers he has, and he does not have like that many followers.
Nobody's got any followers anymore. We killed all the followers. There was a time when this show would like say compete with I don't know the blind mics of the world, and now
Mhm.
it's just ridiculous. They've just the numbers have just
It's like everybody's got their own show, so nobody's watching anybody else's shows.
right, and like they're all Robert Taylor is headlining places now, big time headliner, traveling the world headlining, and now he's the the guy people are going to see. How about that? That's good for him. But he's not coming here anymore. He's done with me, and that's the way it is. No comedians want to come here anymore. I shouldn't say that. I haven't asked too many at all because
That's okay. I've asked plenty.
you have.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I've asked, and I'm still asking plenty. Well, not there's not a comedian named Plenty that I'm asking. No, I mean, these are people with the other names than Plenty. Yeah.
Look, man, you're trying to understand a song that doesn't require understanding. It's a song synonymous with doing military ops. Jam on some songs fit the bill. That is one of them. Really? Is that right? Does he have that right? Did he summarize?
Well, I think he's right about the fact that the song itself does not need understanding, but like they said, because it's not like it's full of symbolism. It's just like I said, there was just some
I,
there's a one or two hidden gems in there that the Rev did pull out that a lot of people probably aren't aware of.
Well, I think the Rev touched on this, and it was something that was in my understanding. And this is why I think there is deeper meaning to this, because I think in the beginning, Jagger wanted it to be Dylan-esque, and
Yeah,
Dylan is full of all of these metaphors and stuff that you have to
yeah,
figure out.
but you can have if Jagger doesn't really know how to write a lot of metaphors. Okay, that's more of a poetic
He
kind
met
of
a
thing.
5. He met a 3 once, but
Yeah, but he doesn't do a lot of metaphors. And so like Dylan may think in metaphors, or like there are people who naturally think in metaphors and parables and stuff like that. That is not Jagger. If Jagger, and I'm not saying he's incapable of it, I'm saying it's not in his nature. So for him, if he says, I wrote a tank in a general's rank, well, that's as mysterious as he gets. It's like,
well,
ooh,
that's pretty straight on. So, but in my mind, I'm thinking he's saying one of the first of all, generals that very rarely drive tanks, right? But who is he?
right, only in display, only in parades and stuff.
Who is the tank
No, he says, I
driving?
wrote a tank in a general's rank.
Yeah.
So in other
So
words, he's underneath of a
who's the
general, not the
general he's
general
talking
driving
about?
tank.
Is it an American general? Is it a Nazi general?
No, it would have to
Blitzkrieg.
be a Nazi general because he's talking about doing things in the name of the devil. Although the Americans their hands weren't clean, but they were fighting on the side of good, so to speak. But it
During the,
says I wrote a tank in a general's rank, which means it's not that he was a general.
when the
It's just that he
Blitzkrieg
was
raged and the bodies
body
stank.
stank. Yeah.
Hmm. All right, Jack. So it means nothing. I should just move on and woo
Except
woo.
for the fact, like I said, that was one of the things that the Rev did kind of break down because what were the Nazis known for? Exterminating Jews mainly. I mean, they did a lot of really evil stuff.
So it was
But
really
when
Jew, Jew, Jew,
no,
Jew. Oh,
no, it was the sound that trains make.
oh,
Woo
oh.
hoo.
That's
Yeah,
right. Now I'm waking up. I'm waking up yesterday morning.
yeah.
All right. So so it means nothing. Does the Rev already have next week planned? Did you?
No,
consult?
we started to. The link that he uses to go look for, it isn't there anymore. So he has to go to another list of songs.
Can I suggest that? I'm not. I know he doesn't take requests back to back from the same idiot twice in consecutive weeks. I would like to suggest "Tiptoe Through the Tulips."
I'll see if he wants to look at those lyrics and see if there's anything spiritual in them.
There's probably nothing. Tiptoe to the tulips, to the. How did that get to be a hit song?
There were sometimes because it was a novelty song.
Even so.
and you get a novelty song and it gets was it he was on? Listen, before I saw him on what was it? Johnny Carson, wherever I saw him, Ed Sullivan, I don't know. Before I saw him on television, I had no idea who he was, but somebody knew who he was because he made it to national television.
Heavy Kev says played support for Jagger. He was a bit of a dick. I hope he's not listening, but still a great muso. Played support from that. Does that mean open for him? Open for Mick Jagger,
or he was a roadie, or he
played support. Played,
or like Mick Jagger did a song where they needed like more musicians. They had the band.
Wow,
I don't know.
Was it? I thought it doesn't come. I've never seen him be like. There are musicians who can be just total assholes in interviews. Robert Plant can be a total fucking dick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jagger just seems like a regular guy who's not full of himself. I would say he doesn't come off.
Oh no, he's full of himself.
He is.
Matter of fact, for a while he was full of himself and a little bit full of David Bowie for a little while, just for a little while.
Oh, now that's a low blow.
If it is a low blow, it had nothing to do with me. That was consensual between the two of them.
No, I'm saying the low blow because Bowie's not that tall. So if you're gonna blow him, it's pretty low. That's what I'm saying. Did he blow him?
I don't know the answer to that. According to a Bianca Jagger, was it Bianca Jagger who caught him in bed, or was it somebody else?
Yeah. She supposedly walked in on him in bed. What is this? No, I'm not taking.
It's funny. The other day on YouTube. I don't.
Hold on, you talk. I have to take this.
The other day on YouTube, it was. Sometimes I don't know how it recommends stuff to me, but there's a band called 5678. They were in Kill Bill. It's 3 women, and they had this one song called "You." So it's like their version of Wipeout, Wipeout, baby. And to me, that's what it feels like. It's their version of Wipeout. And it kept feeding me different versions of the same song. I didn't know they were like that. They performed it all over, everywhere. It's like I saw like 8 different live performances of that same song.
It's the same old song, but GD's sick of it, and that's all wrong. Is that how it goes?
The funny thing is, I wasn't sick of it. Because actually, I kind of like the song is fun, but it's fun to me like Wipeout is fun. Wipeout is a fun song to play.
Because you don't have to play anything. You just sit back and let the drummer go, and then you take a nap. You walk off stage, you get a drink, you go have sex or whatever you do. You come back an hour later, and he's sweating, and then you okay, thank you, thanks for coming. Right? That's Wipeout. Ping, ping. Poop, ping, pop. Oh, Wipeout.
Yeah. You're not going to get a copyright strike for that, believe me.
I know.
I'm right with you, and I didn't recognize what you did
I
until
know.
you said,
I know.
"Ooh, what about?"
I know. I know. So yeah, but there was something musical I wanted to talk about here, but I forgot what it was because it goes in and out of my brain. Well, what were we just talking about? Sympathy for the devil, but that's not what I was talking about. I was thinking about.
Yeah, but he hasn't looked at. He hasn't thought of another song yet. Yeah.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
the biggest problem is that the cat took a lot of attention away from me, and a lot of the burden. Because my wife will sometimes just want someone to pet, someone to play with. No, and the cat filled that role. Now it's me. All the things she used to do with the cat, now she's doing with me, and now I'm pulling double duty.
They don't speak English in New Zealand, do they? It's like a foreign because Heavy Kev is saying open for him secret gig, played an intimate surprise show at Punjabi's Glue Pot.
November 3rd. That's the anniversary of my father's death.
It was
In
a day.
1988. That's like 20 years right after. That's 20 years after my father's death. My father died November 3rd, 1968.
It was the 3rd of November.
Yeah, that's when that song Papa's Rolling Stone when it came out. Because it was September November rhymed. I used to just sing it was the 3rd of November instead of 3rd of September.
All right, I just remembered what I wanted to talk about. Heavy Kev, our friend Heavy Kev, who just made that comment about glue pots. He has a song that's hit 60,000 views on YouTube, and he's excited about that. And good for him, and congratulations. He wanted to know what the reason was. The algorithm, blah, blah. There's too many possibilities about why you will get more view anomaly in views, more views than you're used to. It comes down to title. Title could be a good thing. Could come down to thumbnail. It could come down to description that feeds the algorithm. It could come down to timing. If you, and YouTube will suggest the best time to go live. And if you go live at a certain time, they will show it to more people. The more people they show it to, if they stay on long enough, YouTube will show it to even more people. There are too many variables that go into to try to guess the shit. I don't know if they do that intentionally to confuse people on that. But
is it possible? Is it possible that YouTube doesn't really know, and whenever they see something, and they go like, "And it works." When they see nothing, it's like if you don't, it's like you're a kid. Like a child watches the ocean, and he doesn't understand how waves work, and then he sees that. Hey, he notices
I think
that.
there's something to what you're saying here. That I don't think like this was programmed with intent, but they like people that follow their suggestions. If you follow their suggestions, they will show it to more people. If it gets a number of views, it will see that other people like this. Maybe it's worth showing to other. But they definitely like consistency and all that stuff. But they're big on the time of day because they suggest to me, and I don't listen to them all the time. And I find out that when I do listen to them, they will show it to more people. And when I just go rogue, I'm just going to publish this now, they get angry with me.
There was a video on Blue Sky, and it got tens of thousands of views, and somebody had shared it, and it was Pete Hegseth. He wiped his nose and then did his hair like this. And so that video is like going crazy. And so somebody on Blue Sky had seen my Booger Vance video, and they responded with that.
Booger Hegseth. It doesn't make as much sense.
No, but Booger Vance does.
Yeah, Booger Vance does, but it doesn't translate to Hegseth.
Right, but when they saw it, it was like somebody's like, "This is outrageous! This is crazy!" The guy wiped his nose and did his hair, and so they just showed the Booger Vance video, which is Booger Vance picking his nose and wiping it on a chair at on the international stage,
right.
And nothing, like it didn't pick up any traction, any additional traction. So.
Right. I see my friend Jeff Rasley has just given a heart to GD Loves Dick over there on Twitter. Jeff, you can come back anytime. I'd love to have you on the show. I want to talk to you about this AI thing. I'm not sure if I think Jeff agreed with me on. I got a lot of hate. You know how 2 weeks ago I was being called an AI apologist and people were hating on me for apology.
I thought they called you some other A word. They called you an AI apologist.
They called me an AI apologist, and now they call me an AI hater because I said I think we might be engineering our own extinction. So it's like these people, like when Barack Obama was a president, the people called me a radical right winger, and now that Trump is president, I'm a radical left winger. All of a sudden, it's like I just call them the way I see them. If you disagree with my opinion, that's one thing, but I don't have a loyalty to AI or a bias against AI. I just think that it's the problem with AI is not going to come from the arts. It's going to come from the technology itself, excluding humans. And I think as long as there are humans and there's guardrails on it, I think it's safe to use. But it doesn't. It seems like the LLMs are already taking initiative without any human prompting, and that feels like what is that? Space Oddity to the whatever 2001. You know, where the hell the computer takes over or whatever. So that's where I'm at. You like it? Okay, good. But Jeff, if you want to come back on the show, I appreciate it. I mean, to talk about these things, or just to bash Trump, you could just come on just to bash Trump.
But you better do it soon, because Matt doesn't know how long he's going to be doing this, because he's considering taking a course on being a motivational speaker.
No, I'm talking to Jeff Brasley. He's not taking a course on
you. I said,
oh, me?
You. Yeah.
No,
Jeff, you may want to come on soon because
I don't know how much. You're right about that. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. But motivational speaker is not in my future. Demotivation is in my future. How do I demotivate people? You're doing too much. Why don't you take the day off? Just relax. Go. And why not? Because, as I mentioned, I think we're going to nuclear war. And when that happens, it's just a matter of time before AI won't have time to destroy us or extinct us. We're just gonna push a button, right? You don't think that's gonna happen, do you? You don't think he will use the nuclear weapon to escape the humiliation of defeat?
I am let's put it this way. I seriously doubt it. I would not put it. I'm not saying he's not considering it. He probably is considering it. He probably thinks about it every day because he wanted to drop a nuke. He wants to drop one. He really does want to drop one. He's one of those people that's like, I've got a nuke. I want to use it. And so he's trying to find a reason that people will accept for him to use it. Like initially he thought, I could blow up a hurricane with it. And they're like, no, that doesn't work like that. I could drop it at the Mexico. He wanted to drop it over Mexico, And so there have been 3 times, if I remember correctly, in his first administration where he wanted to use the nuclear bomb, and they just said either like the one like dropping it in a hurricane wouldn't work, and it was just he wanted to blow up a hurricane. So it's like I think it's like a kid with a BB gun. It's like you got a BB. If you give a kid a BB gun and goes, okay, but don't go hunting birds, or don't do this or don't do that.
Eventually, I think it's don't go chasing waterfalls. But what do I know?
Well, don't go shooting waterfalls. And at some point, he's going to get tired of shooting at the little targets with the little cans. And it goes from cans to putting the cans on rope and swinging the cans and then shooting it there. And then he's like, yeah, but I want to shoot something alive. And he shoots his sister or something like that. And then he goes like, BBs aren't powerful enough. I want a 22. And 22s aren't strong enough. I want a 44. So, and Trump is that kid. He just wants, he likes disorder. He likes chaos. And he likes to blow shit up. He loves destruction.
Do you
because
agree with me that there's nobody to talk him out of it? I mean, that it's. I know it's
there
very.
are people that talk him out of it. Now,
Oh,
I don't know I don't know how successful they are. Look, his there are people in his administration who do not want to be the ones to drop the atomic bomb. They just know that it would be bad for everyone and everything.
who?
They know that.
Give me a name. Somebody in his administration that really has.
Now, but I don't know that they would listen to him. There's a difference. I'm sure
Oh, I think
Rubio.
I think you're right about that. I doubt he would listen to
I
anybody.
think
Anybody who's
Rubio. I don't think Rubio wants a nuclear bomb dropped. Um, I don't think anybody in the Republican Party who has aspirations of going anywhere further politically, who is supporting Trump, wants him to do it because their careers are over. Now, I'm not saying they don't want to do it. I'm not saying it because it's not like an altruistic reason, like don't do it, you'll hurt people. It's like, whoa, if you do this, I'm fucked because I supported you. No one wants to see a nuclear bomb out there. Well, okay, no sane people want to see a nuclear bomb drop. Like Putin would love it if we dropped a nuclear bomb. That's all he needs, She would love it because they have nuclear bombs, and it's like, and nobody wants to be the next one to drop one.
No, that's exactly my point. Like it wouldn't be an hour before Ukraine got hit with one from Russia, right?
And
then
say
China would get some wind from that, and they'd say, "Hey, we're getting radiation stuff. Well, let's get in the game." And before you know it, we're like, "Would you like to play a game? Thermonuclear war game." So yeah,
and not only that, if Trump wants to drop it, he drops it on Iran. Russia is an ally of Iran. What's his face? Trump wants to be an ally of Putin, but Putin's real ally to Putin. Trump is just a useful idiot,
Yeah.
But he's really friends with Iran, So, and so Trump decides he drops it there, he's just going to fuck things up for himself and his group. So I'm pretty sure, like I said,
right.
You said who? I don't know who. I'm assuming that people with aspirations to go further in their political career, like J.D. Vance, who was against the Iran war to begin with. He's sucking up now, but he was probably the only member in the cabinet who actually was saying to Trump, "No, don't invade Iran. No, don't invade Iran." And Trump was like, "Vance, you only got this job because of my son. Shut the fuck up."
Wow.
Everybody else wants me to do it, and I want to do it. So fuck up, shut the fuck up. And that's how it is with people who really want to do something. You can't convince them otherwise. No matter how bad you can show a battered woman how bad their husband is, and they'll go back to him again. You can't talk them out of it. But on the other hand, you can have a woman whose husband sneezed at her at the dinner table, and their friends say, "It's just a sneeze," and she goes like, "No, I'm not staying. I'm out." And so it's up to what the person really wants to do, and they'll look for the support wherever they want to. If they really want to find it, they'll create their own support system. It's like, "You told me to do it," and you're like, "Well, I never said that." It's like, "I heard you." It's like, "No, I said follow your heart. I didn't say shoot him. I said follow your heart." So, well, my heart said shoot him. So,
yeah, and to like about running again or their political career, I think anybody with any sense would say it's not. I mean, there are more. I just think it's more grave than the issue of I might not get elected again.
No, I'm saying, yeah, I agree with you. It is much more serious than that. But the people that were trying to talk him out of it, they're not doing it. They'll say how bad it is for the environment, for this, that, and the other. But they're really thinking, I want to run. A lot of these, people with these political actors, that's all it's about is the next step up.
All right.
And now, they don't care.
The people, and I know you don't trust people, and with good reason, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she has reported that she's still in contact with people in the administration, and they've been saying that in recent days, he has been saying he's going to do it. I don't know. You think she's just lying because she's trying to?
I'm not saying she's lying at all. I believe that he wants to do it because it's not the first time that he's threatened to do it. He's threatened at least 3 other times in the first administration. Then
He
though
did?
he had other. Yes.
I don't remember that. Does
I
anybody
just
else
told you.
remember that?
I told you he threatened Mexico. He threatened to blow up a hurricane. And I'm trying to remember.
I remember the hurricane. I don't know if that was a threat or just
no. It was. He really wanted to do it because he's thinking, I've got this bomb. Why can't I use it? That's what he kept saying to his staff. I got this bomb. Why can't I use it? And that didn't just go away.
I thought he always said, you don't want to mess with nuclear, man. Nuclear is bad.
Yeah, well, he says a lot of shit in public, but there's what's in his heart. The man really, he's I don't even want to say an nihilist because that's probably giving a nihilist a bad names. But the man's fucking nuts. He's fucking nuts, and his followers don't know it. They don't believe it. Because it's a reflection on them, because they're supporting somebody who's fucking nuts.
Maybe I should learn to type better. Threatens, I spend. I'm just, I don't remember the exact threats. Mexico, I vaguely remember something about he could use, but I don't think it was a threat. Targeting nuclear sites. Trump threatens to bomb Oman if it gets in the way. But I'm looking. Threatens Iran bridges, threatens to pick. I don't see anything with nuclear. I don't know. I don't remember that. If anybody else remember that, do you remember that? Or TD dreamt it, didn't he? Targeting nuclear sites threatens bomb. Well, is World War III likely to happen?
Let's put it this way. I don't care if other people remember it. I don't care if they removed it from the internet. I know it happened. And this is not the same thing as the Zsa Zsa Gabor thing.
It is the same thing.
Move that pussy. Move that pussy. Move that cat and I will pet your pussy.
Exactly the same as
no.
As Zsa Zsa Gabor. I think it was Zsa Zsa Gabor who said, let's nuke Mexico. Pretty sure it was Zsa Zsa. Trump recounts threatening Russia and China with nuclear war. Trump recounts threatening Putin and Xi Jinping over the phone with nuclear attacks on Russia and Chinese cities during his time as president. What? This is in a campaign rally speech from 2023. He said that he threatened them.
See, I'm not talking about campaign rally speeches. This is stuff that came out of his cabinet that people, when they defected and when they left him and they went into retirement or they made the rounds. As a matter of fact, there's still a guy. There was a guy, I can't remember his real name, but when he was in the Trump administration, he was leaking stuff to the press, and I think he was leaking under the name Anonymous, but I can't be certain. Yeah.
In 2018, nuclear option tweet on April 2018, Trump posted to social media that Congress should change Senate rules referred to as the nuclear option. Oh no, that's
no.
That's the wrong nuke. That's
yes, he's getting rid of the filibuster.
Yeah, appeared to threaten to target other countries. June 6, 2025. I'm looking for stuff that is during the first administration where I have threatened to nuclear bomb over Mexico. Threatens U.S. to shut Mexico border, invade Mexico, aren't serious. Bomb Oman. I don't see anything about Mexico. Sorry, Zsa Zsa. I don't see anything about Mexico bombs. Threaten to carry out military strikes and start a war with Mexico. I remember that, putting tanks on the border and all that stuff. Invasion. Mexico's president, there will be no invasion. Wait, what was that? Trump, nonetheless, previously threatened the Iranian regime. No. Mexico president. Trump Antifa crackdown steered to agency that targets organized crime. Mr. President gave up on a nuclear deal with Iran. But that's all crap. I want to hear where's the threat against Mexico. Did he actually threaten to use it against Mexico? or just we lost. Oh, he lost power. So it's just me. It looks like GD lost power at home. I didn't even know he wasn't here. Just me now. Anyway, coming back to Heavy Kev here. We're all over the place. Interesting because I do better stuff but get 13 views, but the taste in music. No, it's definitely not about the quality. Some of my worst songs get the most views. It's definitely YouTube doesn't care about quality. They have no idea about quality. Whatever is pumping up the numbers or showing it to more people really has nothing at all to do with quality. If it did, you know what? Don't worry, be happy. Wouldn't have not been a billion views. And what was that kid, that William Hung or something? He got 3 billion views. Insane. And it was crap by any objective standard. What he did was crap, and YouTube, you said, "Oh yeah, we like that crap. Show it to more people." I'm waiting for Dick now, and we might not. GD, who loves Dick, might not get his fill of Dick today, which is kind of sad. Somebody, what? Tell me a better singer than Taylor Swift? No, there is no better singer than Taylor. See, that's the thing. Quality. Somebody was talking about popularity is the same as quality. It's like, no, if that were true, you know what? Paul McCartney would be the greatest musician of all time. And I'm not saying he's not a good musician. I'm just saying he's not the greatest bass player of all time. But if popularity was a measure of it, he would be definitely the greatest bass player of all time. George Harrison would be the greatest guitar player of all time. And I'm not to bash George, but he's just not the greatest. So Taylor Swift, you know what? I don't think Taylor Swift is a bad singer. There are much worse singers in my life, both in the pop culture sphere and locally. Yeah, and so there's lots of bad singers. I don't think she's a bad singer. She's not a great singer. I mean, you know who's a great singer? Linda Ronstadt was a great singer. You know, a surprising great singer, Olivia Newton-John. Yeah, what? Yeah, you know who's a surprisingly great singer? Karen Carpenter. Surprisingly, not that she had like a wild range, but the pitch and tonality of her voice and the flexibility of her voice made her a great singer, in my view. Why am I thinking of all women? Guys who are great singers. I would, you know what? Maybe this is a controversial take here. Guys who are great singers, because most people would say Steve Perry, even Robert Plant. It comes down to favorites, right? Because there's no real metric to gauge who's the best singer by. But my favorite singer, this is not somebody you're going to think is a good singer at all. And you can get ready to throw rocks at me and piss on me or whatever you're going to do. I think Bruce Springsteen is an excellent singer. Yes, I said that. He's gotten, because in his early days, he was very stylistically compared to Bob Dylan. And because of the Rangers had a homecoming, and people are, yeah, guy's not a good singer. If you listen to his body of work, and I tell you what, try to sing it. GD's back. It looks like he got his power back. And oh, look, he's got his cord in his hand, and he's looking for earbuds to put in. Just talking about Taylor Swift. Well, I'm not talking about Taylor Swift. Somebody said she was. Tell me a better singer than Taylor Swift, and I could probably name hundreds, but that doesn't mean I think she's an okay singer. She's not a bad singer. She's just not. Heavy Kev says Dio, a great singer. If you like him, yes. I got to plead ignorance on this. I don't know Dio's full body of work. I know some of his songs. Okay, the guy who sang with the Scorpions, I thought was a very good singer. But again, I think it's subjective.
It is very subjective because, like, I love Alison Moyet's voice.
Yeah, you keep bringing up that name. I guess I have to listen to it, don't I? I have to listen to it because
You don't have to. I just love her voice. I think she's
I mean, for me to know what the hell you're talking about, I need to listen.
And there's a woman named Kirsty McCall. She sang "Walking Down Madison." I love her voice in that. And I don't know if she did a few other songs, but she never became like a big star. But "Walking Down Madison," I really like her voice in that. And I don't, it's funny because I'm trying to do apples to apples, like find other female vocalists that and Freddie's going straight down. Not Freddie. Heavy's going straight down the line. It's like Dio, Freddie, MJ.
Freddie was definitely a unique vocalist.
Yeah. See, and also there's a difference between a singer and a vocalist. Okay, I'm not a singer. I think I'm a decent vocalist, but I'm not a singer. And to me, a singer is one of like Minnie Riperton. That's a singer. Dionne Warwick. That's a singer. Janis Joplin. That's a vocalist. David Bowie to me David Bowie is a vocalist.
Can you I think Bowie was a good singer. Now, can you define the distinction that divides vocalist from singer?
I think again, it's like the difference between a musician and a person who just plays guitar. It's the same.
Person who just plays guitar is on your doorstep waiting he's with your pizza. He's waiting for a tip.
Yeah. So, but for me, as singers, it involves skill set and training. It's like if someone were to say to, I'm trying to think here. Well, first of all, they're not pitchy. Vocalists can be pitchy. Vocalists, they can hit the bad note or it's a good note that just doesn't sound right. I just I don't think if anyone's saying, listen to that opera vocalist. It's usually an opera singer. You understand what I'm saying? That's training, that's range, that's skill. You just not anybody's just going to pick up and do that. To me, those are singers. Vocalists, like anybody up the street can come up and sing along with a song and vocalize.
I'm getting ready to get more mud thrown at me. I should have a mud screen here because
mud shield, yeah. Mud flaps. You should have mud flaps.
I need to ask your opinion. Opinion. What do you think of Bob Dylan's what comes out of his mouth?
Vocally, I think he's a very good vocalist. I don't think he's a great singer. I think he's a good vocalist, and I love imitating him. But now as far as the words go, I think he's and I think he's a very decent lyricist.
I was just talking about on the vocal level. Because I think he got tired of hearing, that guy can't sing, because his style was intentional. He was imitating the folk singers that he had heard growing up, and he over exaggerated a little bit. But I think he got tired of hearing that, and that's why he came up.
Lady. That's the first thing I thought about. Yeah, but again,
I think he can sing, and I think because I heard Bruce Springsteen talk about his journey.
Okay, now see, it's funny because I can drive, but I cannot be a NASCAR driver. No, I can drive, but so but you give me the right car and I come off looking very, very good. It's like, whoa, he's a good driver. And then you put me behind the NASCAR next to a real driver, and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing there? He's going to ruin everything. And that's how I could yes, Dylan can sing. But if you put Dylan next to, let's say, a real good singer, it's like, no.
Right. No, but I absolutely agree with he's not he's definitely never going to be compared to Enrico Caruso or whatever, or even Freddie Mercury or any of those people. But I don't think that shit singer, I don't think that applies. I think
No, I think shit is overstating it, but yeah, but I don't think he's a singer, right? I think he's a good
He can
vocalist.
sing better than most people at a birthday party when you start to
But
sing.
that's within like I said, his range is like right here, you know. It's like lay, lady, lay across my big brass bed, and then that's it. And if he goes like,
That's hit some high notes. But again, I come back to, and I know people don't think Bruce Springsteen is a good singer. I do think he's a good singer. I do think he's a good singer. I think his range is incredible. I think
he has good range.
He got caught up in stylistically things, but if you try to sing Thunder Road or even Born to Run, there are some parts in there that are extremely difficult, and the range between where it starts and that scream you put in it, whoa, it's pretty dramatic. And I think but where I'm coming back to is this interview where I heard him say it's about inhabiting the songs and becoming one with the song and expressing it as you're living it. And I think that's what separates people who really can connect with an audience as a singer versus somebody like Celine Dion, who is just showing off her vocal range, or Mariah Carey, who just was showing. Not to say they're bad singers in any way. I think
right, but then again, there's a difference between being a singer and a performer as well. Like, so I'm just saying, singer to me, singer is a technical skill set. To me, it's just a technical skill set. It's like being a black belt in karate. Okay, the day before you take your test, you know all the stuff that you got to do. You know, when you become a black belt, you didn't learn anything new when you became a black belt. You already knew that stuff. You know, everything that you did that day, you already knew. They were just verifying that you could do it. You know, and to me, that's what being a really good singer is like. It's like they've got the skill set, and then people notice it and they go, "Oh, that's a singer." You know, that's it. So it's just recognizing that they have all the skill set to be a but
the Dick you have been waiting for months is here, so I want to get to him just as quickly as we can. But
yes,
I want to. Mark Kevin says Mark Knopfler the same. The one, and this is not related to his saying. I don't think Knopfler is on the same level as Dylan or Springsteen. He sings the right notes, but his range is like that, very small. Smaller than my Dick. But I heard a thing from Knopfler. Steely Dan called him to sing on the song, and I can't at the moment think of what song, Steely Dan song he played.
Lead or backup?
He played the lead guitar part on what? Well, no.
Oh, I thought you meant singing. I thought you wanted to sing.
They brought him in to play guitar on a song, and he said he worked. I think it was 18 hours in the studio. And they ended up using 7 seconds on the intro of this song. And I forget what song it is, but he was so frustrated with their perfectionism. They hire him for his style. They loved his style, the way he played. They hire him for a session, put him through 18 hours of, can you try that one more time? Can you try that one more time? The record comes out and there's 7 seconds on the beginning of the record, and that's all he's on there for. But Steely Dan, not a favorite of Mark Knopfler. Anyway, want to get some Dick?
Of course. Go ahead. Morning Dick. It's time for Morning Dick.
Dick Wybrow is a fantasy, sci-fi, and humor author, or depending on how many cups of coffee he's had, a humor and fantasy sci-fi author. Former stand-up comedian, major market radio jock, and CNN television producer, Dick now has 20 books under his belt, which admittedly is an odd place to put books, right?
Yeah. Usually if somebody has 20 books under their belt, it's because they have like a huge stomach to cover them as well.
He should probably
you got to keep the books dry, and if you have a huge gut.
All right. So he's here now. Say good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Dick. How?
Yeah. All right.
How are you guys doing? And you got to remember, you're talking to me from Christchurch, New Zealand, so it is 2:15 right
I
now.
know. We have
And
some.
that's the
Believe it or not,
that's
we
the
have.
love that I have for you guys, right?
I appreciate that. We've had other
Okay,
people
yes.
on from New Zealand at this time, and we have somebody right now in the chat room from Auckland. So,
Right.
so yeah, New Zealand is. I appreciate the middle of the night stuff, man. Good for
Or middle of the morning. It just depends
Yeah.
because I'm old now. I'm getting old, so I go to bed about 9:30.
Oh.
I know that's what's happening to me now.
You
And
know,
so,
look,
so this is me getting up early. This is me getting up because normally I get up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and so this is just getting up a little bit earlier. That's all it is.
well, if I may say so, you look very young and full of vim and vigor.
Well, that sounds appropriate coming from you, knowing that you're going to become a motivational speaker. I think I heard that.
No,
earlier.
I'm not. I'm not. No.
It sounds like what you're committing to. After this gig, you've got motivational speaker. That'd be pretty great.
I would. People would just quit. Everybody. Is this the
Rash
latest
of
book?
suicides.
The Facilite Con. Facilite. I don't know how to pronounce that word. I'm bad.
That's right. I made the word up, and that's probably how, as a Kiwi say, might have stitched myself up by making a word up. But
yeah,
basically, it's me getting into a bit of sci-fi, which is kind of fun. Something I've always it's light sci-fi. It's
Right.
light sci-fi. It's a little bit like the fantasy stuff. Like I talked to you guys before about Kane, the reverse werewolf, and all that stuff. That because every now and then it's like it's a werewolf book. It's like not really. It's an avenue for me to kind of be funny and have some fun with the relationships, and so that's kind of like what this is. This is just kind of some sci-fi, and it's an opportunity to have fun and do some strange things in space, basically. So it's fun. It's been a lot of fun to do.
Now I have a question for you right off the back, because when you're
Yep.
describing things, you have to kind of like know if you're turning left to this room or right to that room. How do you keep track of where the logistics of the ship? Did you like draw out the ship so you can always say that when he goes up and to the left, he's going to sick bay, but if he goes down and to the right, he's not going to sick bay, he's going to the cafeteria? How did you keep all that straight?
See, that would have been a good plan. That that would have been an amazing idea to do something like that, because I did it in retrospect, where suddenly I realized I don't really know the layout of the ship, and so I had to turn back around and start plugging stuff in. This thing is a mess. In fact, you take a look at that ship, like the cover. That's a strange looking ship.
Well, that's what made me ask, because I was looking at the ship and I'm thinking, what was your, what encouraged you to and is that your design, or is that just the cover, the artist going, this is what we think?
That's the design of the ship, because in the end, after I had to move some bits and pieces around, but in the end, it turned out to be like, well, this is what it's going to look like. It looks like tragedy.
Well, once it's in space, it doesn't have to. Once it's up there, it doesn't have to be aerodynamic. It just has to have thrust and anti-thrust, and the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Like all of us guys, you need a little thrust and anti-thrust in your life. Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
that's it.
Because GD used the word "he" quite a bit where he's going to whatever. Are there any? The protagonist is a female, right?
Yeah. Is a con artist. That's why we've got our in space. No one can hear you scheme, which is probably the best part.
Right.
It's just the tagline is really the best part of the entire book. So once you've read that, it's pretty much it.
Did you do that to impress the ladies? I'm gonna make the
protagonist. It was it's one of those things you never know what's going to trigger you in a creative endeavor, right? And that's sort of what I was trying to think of. Like I had all these different ideas for doing some sort of science fiction thing, because like a lot of us, when I was growing up, I discovered Douglas Adams and always wanted to kind of do some sort in sci-fi. And I came up with that tagline, and I went, oh, I like that. And that's sort of the impetus for an entire series now, just that sort of tagline. And so I basically created a ship full of con artists. That's basically how it starts out.
Why isn't it called America? It should be called America.
Right. But so to make it funny though, there's a big explosion, and the lowest person on the totem pole, as it were, the person who's the least experienced con artist, she inherits the ship because everybody else dies, and so it's just about her bringing on kind of a bit of a new crew trying to pull off this jewel heist. So that's sort of the essence of the story.
So cash can save a ship that is in somewhere out in space, and because I'm curious about. how cash can solve problems in a place where there's no place to spend the cash.
Well, she's got to get the ship fixed.
So
and people don't do that.
Are there service stations along the way out there?
There, you know, I mean, I could get into some of that, but it's there are, because as you were kind of hinting to a moment ago, GD, you kind of have to, as you're writing this, you go like, oh, I'm going to start now. I'm going to create a cash system to some extent because it's a couple hundred years in the future, and then suddenly you're like, okay, well, what would we look like if we kind of head out to the outer planets? And then so more and more, you got to build more and more of that world. You might never really talk about all of it, but you have to have an idea about how all this stuff exists. So there are, she has people that she works with that are kind of on the fringe of society. And some of these, even some repair bros, this repair depot bros, and they help her out. And they're kind of farther out. And so, so she's got to get some cash together to take care of this stuff because it can get quite expensive to fix a ship.
Now, just out of curiosity, because is she a Space 10 but an Earth 4? I mean, what is?
See, I don't look at women that way. No.
No. Yeah, but how do you know them?
But you know what's fun? Because you mentioned that, because I've had a number of readers, because like you mentioned, I've had 20 or 21 books or so, is I actually don't overly describe my characters. I'll mention a bit if it's something within, and I'll get sit and talk about writing the entire time, but I'll mention it a bit if it's something that's sort of pertinent to the moment or pertinent to the scene. But I kind of like it when you let the reader sort of come up with an image themselves, a bit of a theater of the mind, because like this sort of stuff, like I've had a number of people come up to me recently asking me about how to learn how to become a writer, and one of my answers sometimes is getting a radio. Not like there's much radio anymore ever again, but radio is great training for becoming an author, because radio is sitting in a little room by yourself for 3 to 6 hours and just talking to people you'll never meet, and that's kind of in a lot of ways what writing is. You're sitting in a room by yourself and hopefully you get all these people that are going to pick it up at some point, and it's a one-on-one relationship, just like it is in radio. But it's just you speaking to one person. And that was a heck of a training ground for me. I really, and I love it. I'm doing this full time now, and it's the greatest job in the world. It's exhausting because of all the other stuff that you got to do around it, but it's been great.
So I'm good. This is you're not going to quit to become a motivational speaker, is what you're saying.
I don't think I could be. I mean, because motivational speaker is a little bit like an extension of customer service. And I was in retail for a while, and I can't do customer service because I got tolerance, but I run short. Until I got about 30 seconds tolerance until it's like, you got to get out of here. I can't deal with you.
Oh yeah.
No, I would be the worst.
Yeah.
And the heavy Kev who's in Auckland says, why is Dick in New Zealand? I guess you want to know your origin story.
I think when I meet people here, they hear the accent, and then they try and find a kind way to ask me why somebody with my accent is here. And it's funny, you guys wouldn't even know this, but there's a lot of times where people go like, so when you're from America, right? I'll say, well, I was born in Canada. They go, oh, I'm sorry. As if that's like some serious insult or something. But
they can't tell the difference between an American and Canadian. Canada.
Well, it depends on the part of the U.S.
They can't
and
even say
Canada.
Yeah, because there's a lot of folks in the Midwest that sound quite Canadian,
Yes.
But I think a lot of Americans, and I can say this because I grew up in the United States. There's a lot of Americans that can't really discern the difference between an Aussie accent or a British accent. It just sounds sort of British-y. Yeah. So I'm not surprised by that. But basically, the long and short of it is I'm half Kiwi. And so I actually I got citizen by descent because my father is Kiwi. Because my father, when he was 18, he initially flew to the United States. And he wanted to go to the United States. But they have the quota system. They're like, listen, we got enough Kiwis right now. You're going to have to go up to Canada. They'll take anybody. And so he went up to Canada and he met this beautiful Canadian woman. And then he slept with her sister, and then I was born 9 months later. And that's how I became around here. But we only discovered here about 15 years ago or so that I had citizenship by descent. And so I was working for some time. I don't remember if you guys remember. I was working at CNN, and I was done kind of with that lifestyle a bit because that's pretty next level. And we were going to move to Colorado and do some TV there or something. And then when I found out I was citizen by descent, and that basically just means that my father was Kiwi. And I don't know if those rules are this. I don't know if those rules are still there for people born in the last couple of decades, but I think that might have ended in 1978. But I was in that window of time where basically I just got to fill out the paperwork and then I become Kiwi. And
Well,
so
in
they,
Canada, I
they
think in Canada they just reinterpreted citizenship so that you can, if you're like grandfather or grandmother or something, if you can connect back to someone who's Canadian, you can become Canadian by descent.
Wow.
I remember about 15 years ago, 15, 17 years ago, and this is just a memory, so it is probably wrong. But there was a time here because, there was a big time there where, like, if you're going to go to another country and you become a citizen there, now you've got to renounce your citizenship, that sort of thing.
Right.
They didn't want you to be, right?
Right.
And then there was a time about 15 years ago, 17 years ago or so, where Canada came out and said, no, you don't have to do that. So if you went to another country and you renounced your citizenship, you can have it back. Don't worry about it. I think they're just looking to get bodies there. I think they're just looking to see if they can give citizenship out because it's cold there. And so they just need warm bodies in the country.
Well, the more people you have together in a room, the more collective, the more heat you generate. So you don't have to turn up the thermostat, just get enough people together. And Canada can now be just like Florida.
Yeah.
Temperature wise, you don't want the ancestry or the ancestry that they have in Florida. You don't want that. But
I'm still adjusting to this idea of people in New Zealand referring to themselves as Kiwis.
Right.
So you're half Kiwi, the other half bacon.
Exactly. Yeah. Or Canadian bacon.
Bacon is the national fruit of Canada, right?
Yeah, because I was born in Winnipeg, and you would think, speaking of which, you think I'd be used to winters because it's winter here right now, and that's something I still got to get used to because we're in the middle of August and it's cold, and I've been here for so I've been here 12, 13 years, and I'm still can't get my head around that. I don't think I ever will.
Is that because your brain is just programmed to say August heat, August heat, August heat?
Yeah. Yep. And then in January it's cold, freezing cold, never gets above zero. But here, that's our summer. When they do Christmas here, it's warm. And so you'll have a Christmas picnic, and Aussies have these characters. It's Santa on a surfboard. Because it's beach weather. It's beach weather, man.
See, I thought it never really got cold in New Zealand because I listened to Heavy Kev. I thought that's what he said. It never really.
No, maybe. Okay. When he says never really cold, that's probably like his perspective in the sense that everybody has their own tolerance of different things,
See, when I was growing up, because my first 9-10 years or so were in Winnipeg, and that's proper cold. That's like you go outside and you might die. It's possible. And here, I think what it was is back because I was in Minnesota, grew up in Minnesota. And so when I was like 20, I moved to LA for a year. And I think they say your blood thins. That's not really a thing, but I think that's the term. And so I got to the point, because I remember sitting there in a hot tub, my birthday, which is in February, it was 1990, I think. And I was just like warm on my birthday, which was unusual. I'm sitting there drinking beers and floating the empty beer bottles upside down in the hot tub, which wasn't great because then like the person that was running the apartment complex was like showing other people. I'm like, this is the pool and this is the hot tub and there's me floating beer bottles upside down. But I think that was when my blood thinned, whatever you call it, because here now it's like it gets to what we might say is 40 degrees or so, or 35 degrees, and it's cold, man. I'm feeling that. I feel that in my bones over here. So yeah,
now,
I can't quite handle like it before.
Is that how you spell Celsius?
It's 10 degrees Celsius in Auckland.
Is that how you spell Celsius? Yeah. Is that correct?
I can't see it.
I think they may be how they spell it there. I mean, I thought that C, the second C was an S.
I thought it was saying calculus or something. All right.
That seems right.
My bad.
Yeah, and so here's your shorthand too, by the way. So if you want to find out what 10 degrees is, just double it and add 30. It's kind of a short. It's not
Yeah, it's a
perfect,
shorthand.
but
It's like, yeah.
All right.
yeah,
If we may direct
work.
the conversation back to your authorship and your books, and
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of authors, and I asked this question. Surprised that most of them don't know or care who is their target audience, like who is reading.
Oh,
your
yeah.
book. I'm guessing your books are more. The readership is more male, young men, right? Or am I wrong?
No, you're wrong. You're entirely wrong. I'll just leave it there because it's kind of fun to leave it there. No, there are more women that read than men, is basically what it comes down to. And so I have a large group of women that actually read my stuff. It's probably 3-1, actually, women to men. And they range. I've got younger people that read it. I've got a lot of older people that read it, but it's also got to be the people that have the time to read, or I don't have the finances to be able to buy an audiobook because this stuff ain't cheap sometimes. But yeah, it's a lot of women. I have a lot of women, and especially the ones that comment on the ads or the posts or that sort of thing. Because in 2026, especially with AI around, is you have to have a face to the author, right? Because otherwise people are like, well, maybe it's just some computer that wrote this thing. So I've got to put my face out there a couple times a week and get it on.
Well, even if you have a face, there's nothing to say that's not an AI created face.
My face
could be,
is
you're
AI
right.
created. I don't know. Can you tell? This nose. You would
think
never
AI
see a
would
nose
ever-
like this in nature, right?
Right.
You would on a spoonbill. On a spoonbill, you'd find a nose like that on a spoonbill platypus.
Do you know where your readership is? Like, I'm curious. Is it?
I've got. Yep. Yeah.
United
I've got.
States?
Well, that's it. United States, United Kingdom. I've got Aussie readers. I've got folks in Germany. People reach out to me all the time, which I'm really blessed to have that sort of thing, because I make myself available or approachable, I guess. And I am. I mean, I respond to every email that's. I mean, it might take a while, but I respond to every email. I respond to when people write something in a post because I think people really like that, and I like that as well. That sort of relationship that you can have with your readership that we didn't have 30 years ago. It's pretty great, actually.
I like that.
And
too.
so yeah, I dig that a lot. And
I love when a celebrity responds to me on social media. So it's like, oh, I'm like a fangirl. Like, oh, Elvis, talk to me. Yeah.
And the thing is, too, is I also get, on occasion, I even get sort of ideas. I can get some ideas from readers, which happened to me. I might have told you guys that before. I just finished up book 2 of the Kane series, and I was working on book 3, and I didn't have that thing because when you're writing a book, a lot of times you kind of need, what is that thing, you as the author, what is kind of pulling you through? Like sometimes it might be a scene or a character or something you like to keep coming back. I mean, you want to bring the whole story and everything, but there's often sort of like just that one little thing that you really want to get to, kind of like be able to dance around in. And I hadn't quite found that for book 3. And I got rung up because every now and then, like reader groups, like book clubs will say, hey, listen, can you zoom into us and talk with us about the book? I said, of course. And so I had done that in the UK. And like I was saying, I just finished up book 2. I was getting into book 3, but I haven't found my thing yet. What was that thing I was really excited about? And this woman from New Brighton, that's stuck in my head. I don't know why, but this woman from New Brighton said, like, oh, I can't wait to find out more about Kane when he was a young man living up in Canada. And I went, it's funny you say that because in book 3, that's what I'm going to be doing. But that sort of thing is great. In fact, with the Fastlight Con, I've had some ARC readers, advanced reader copies, and beta readers. People have read through that. And of all things, I had a couple of readers say to my narrator, because I'm producing the audiobook, say, hey, listen, this one character, we want to find out more about how they got to where they are. And that surprised me that this sort of like smaller character has really resonated with people. So that's going to be in there. Not only because they said, hey, do this, but that felt right. That felt really sort of germane to how the story is going to go. So It's been great. It's been really, really, it's been a real adventure because, like I said, I'm really getting hands-on with it, doing the audiobook especially. That has been a lot of work, but it's been fantastic.
I have a question that might be a bear trap. when you talk to musicians, especially, you ask them like, what successful musicians, what's the key to being a successful musician? Be good at what you do. But that I always come back to, well, how come there are so many people who are not good at what they do who are also successful? It would and just being able to do it full time as you're doing means you're a great success in the authorship world. What is just be good at it the reason?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, right? Because somebody was just asking me a similar question just yesterday, about this idea of like, well, can you market yourself into becoming a very popular author? And you can probably do that for about 6 months or 8 months. But to have any sort of career, yeah, you got to be kind of good at it. And a lot of that is sort of like introspection and the stuff that people remember most about, for even though there's jokes and humor and stuff like that through the stories, the stuff they remember the most is really the interaction between the two characters, or 3 or 4 characters, whatever it might be. There's a moment in the Fast Icon where this Bert character, who's kind of this rich boy, he's an engineer and he's kind of a screw up, and he has this real heartfelt moment right in the middle of a humor book, but he has this real sort of revealing moment. And I'll be honest, and I don't want to give it away, but he sort of talks about how the world views him, and it's really gut wrenching. And I've had a number of people read that like, wow, that was next level, just because it really affects you. It's like, yeah, that's what somebody said to me back 30 years ago. And I've never forgotten it. Wow. And I took something a friend of mine said to me, because he had been going to school and he was a smart guy, but he was doing a lot of drinking and all of that. And I can just tell you, it's not that much of a giveaway, but there was a moment he said to me, he said, it's crazy, Richard. He says, they look at me like I'm a fool. And I remember the deep pain when he was talking about that. And he talked about how, like, it doesn't matter what he does and people like him, but they like him because he's a bit of a fool and because he drinks too much. And it was so powerful. And so those are those moments. So that's where every now and then I'll talk about how, as a good writer, you sort of like plagiarize bits and pieces of life. I've been holding on to that little speech there for like I said, some 30 years. And I was able to incorporate that into the book. Yeah, I think when it comes to
interesting phrase, plagiarize from life. It's not like you, well, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So I hijack, like, I have characters that I have that are based on people that I know, and some of them are amalgam of a lot of different people I know. All the characters, to some extent, are some part of you because they do start to live in your brain and talk to you a little bit, for as insane as that sounds.
Thanks for saying that, because I brought up this idea, and I forget which Renaissance artist said it. It might have been Da Vinci, because he did the Mona Lisa, which was said to have been a self-portrait of some sort. But one of the Renaissance artists said, every thing an artist creates is in some way a self-portrait. And I bring that up, and people deny that. They will dig in and say, no, you can't see me in my work. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you can't. But I think the people who absorb your work or consume your work.
Well, I think people who are stealing other people's work, you don't see much of them in the work, because they've actually just stolen it from someone else. And then you just see like a trace amount of them because they've stolen it completely.
That's true.
One, it's a little bit like humor in a way. The stuff that really works in humor, and you guys know this, the stuff that really, really works has that element of truth to it. There's fiction can be one of the greatest ways to learn the truth, because there's kind of a construct there that lets you get into this. And comedy is the same way. The funniest comedians a lot of times are just telling the truth and putting a bit of a spin on it, and it wouldn't be quite as funny or as interesting if it wasn't sort of a truth. Yeah. And so there's a lot of that when it comes to writing, and if you can find those sort of human sort of truths, without that necessarily being here, let me teach you about humanity. But you find those sort of core truths, that's really when people embrace your stories, because it starts to mean something, because there's a way of being able to tell something about ourselves through these fictional stories, which we've been doing for a couple thousand years or so.
When you first, I'm sorry to use the word transition. When you first transitioned to author from your previous life, which is radio, stand up, and all that, did you ever feel like giving up or quitting, because this is where we started the program today, was our friend Stevie, who's been in comedy for, I don't know, several years now, and just decided it's not working out, I quit. Did you ever, in authorship, think it's whether
it depends? It depends on your motivation. And I'll stay in the world of stand-up comedy. I have a good friend of mine, and she has been doing stand-up since the early 90s when I started. She's still doing it today. And she was one of those that, I'm not sure what the upbringing was, but something was sort of missing from the upbringing. And when she got up on stage, that was where her love came from. And so she was somebody that maybe didn't get as a kid or something, right? So there's a bit of a hole in her heart. And
Right.
so, and that sounds a little sad, but that's what pushed her to get up on stage.
Right.
And so she would get up there, man. And this was back in the real sweet days of stand up in the early 90s and all that, when in Minneapolis we had like 5 nights of open mic. There'd be an open mic somewhere in the city. She'd go to every single one of them. And what that was she needed to fill that hole. That was something that she needed to make herself feel loved and feel better. And now, of all the friends we had, she's by far the biggest one of our entire group. And so
Now,
why I mentioned that is
size, or is that in comedy? Is that her
in comedy?
Size? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's in comedy. So why I mentioned that is that's that compulsion. She had that compulsion. Yeah, it probably came from a bit of damage, and I never found out what it was, but it seemed to be something like that. But that was that compulsion. And I've said it before, I would be writing, even if I weren't making money, I'd still be writing books. It's a need. I have got to be able to do this. And when I don't write, I get really depressed. And maybe it's just the same thing as I'm getting the stuff out of my head.
I wanted to hear that, because I feel like giving up, if it's part of you, it's impossible to give up. It doesn't mean you're gonna make money from it, but you don't give up. Like, I can't imagine people who say, I'm not playing music anymore. Does that mean you're not gonna go out and look for gigs? But how do you just give up something that is part of you? And if stand up, telling jokes and being funny is part of you, how do you give that?
And I kind of balk at the idea of being called an artist, but it kind of is that sort of in any of this. That's what that is. If it's sort of coming from your core, I think that if it's a God-given talent and it's something inside of you, and you're supposed to be getting this stuff out, and that's sort of like, that's when I feel the greatest in the world. When I'm really humming with the writing, when it's really, really working, it's next level. And the same thing with stand-up. When you're on stage and things are flowing, I mean, it's like, where have I walked? This is Valhalla. What has happened? And I didn't have a lot of those gigs.
Right.
But on the gigs when it really worked, it was like you're floating on air. It was really great.
What is Kia Kaha? What is Kia Kaha? I don't know what that means. Do you know? You probably know what that means, right?
You've got to learn. It's funny because there is, how do I say it?
I need to write that down with my peen. Peen, I will write Kia Kaha.
There's not a hesitation. There's not a hesitation here, but there are a lot of Kiwis that say, "Oh, I don't really know Maori words, and your average Kiwi really knows about 35, 40 different, because we have a lot of Maori culture all over the place. When I used to work in television, we would start every broadcast with Kia ora. And that means like good afternoon or hello or thank you. It means it's kind of like aloha in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's quite versatile. And so, so that's another greeting. It's tapu is, I believe tapu is something that is forbidden. Like, you don't put shoes up on the counter, because in the Maori culture, you don't put shoes up on the counter. That's tapu. Don't do that. That's not a good idea. So we all get to pick up on those words, because a lot of the Maori culture is sort of embraced in this area, especially depending on the part of the country you live in.
Wow. I just need to read this comment. It has nothing to do with you. I don't think Stephen is giving up as much as stepping back to grow and learn. It was pointed out to him that a good amount of his comedy is the same hack that all disabled comedians do. That was pointed out to him by some angry veteran he knows. I think Stephen was telling his story. And I think that's coming back to this idea. You have to be authentic, because I read a brief bio of Rodney Dangerfield, and he basically was doing comedy and not being successful at all, and really stepped back when he got married and had kids and kind of gave it up. Didn't actually start to have any success till he was 45 years old, but he never stopped telling the jokes, and he did. And it was just when he started becoming very autobiographical that he found some success. That no respect thing was the thing, well, because he didn't get much respect, and he was just telling the story of basically his life, how he gets peed on everywhere he goes. So
there's kind of an irony in a way that the moment, I'll put it kind of more bluntly, but the moment you stop caring is the moment when that sincerity comes out. Like I wrote 2 books to market, and I got a Hollywood agent for it, and they were thrillers, and it just didn't really go anywhere because it didn't have the same. They were good, but they didn't have the same resonance. And then it was my wife who said, "Just write some of the stuff you talk about all the time." It's like nobody wants to read that. It's funny, but it's strange. And I started writing that and developing that, but that was coming directly from my core. The moment I stopped caring about hitting market, or the moment I stopped caring about what people thought about it, is when the book started taking off, when the writing started taking off. I think your smoke alarm just went off.
Yeah. No. Do you smoke alarm when just went off?
Oh. No, I just heard beeping a second ago. So I don't know what that
it's like a little chime. Ding.
Yeah.
Like the egg timer just went off.
I didn't hear it. But, that's surprising. I didn't hear the nuclear bomb that just went off. So there's that. Do you constantly write, or do you? And the bigger question here: do you write every idea that you get for a book? Do you follow through on it? Like I have so many ideas that get dismissed. Like they're great ideas when I have them. I'm going to work on that, and I never come.
If I were more organized, I would take better notes. But I've got tons of ideas. I wanted to write something. I wanted to write something like in time for the 250th year anniversary for the United States. I had this funny idea. It would have been maybe like a novella or something. This idea that somebody found a clause that proved that the when the American Revolution happened, that there was a clause in there that proved that actually Britain still owned the country. I wanted to write a story about that. I thought it'd be really funny to kind of do that, especially sort of in 2026, how you would handle that and how Congress and Parliament would deal with that. And I'd sort of flesh it out, but I had so many other projects going on. It was like, I can't. I've got this, and this, because I was writing a prequel to the Fastlight Con, finishing the Fastlight Con, doing an audiobook. There's just not enough. There's not enough hours in the day. But yeah, I write every day. I've got to write something every day. Like I said, if I don't write something every day, it affects my mood. So yeah, I'm always writing something, and I write a newsletter every single week. And my newsletter is kind of a little bit maybe different than other authors, because there's plenty of other authors who write a newsletter and say, here's what book's coming out here. Here's this book coming out here. And I write a newsletter every week, and mine will be like, so I collect stuff. It's like, there's nothing to do with writing whatsoever, but it's just fun to tell stories. I love storytelling.
How do you stay focused though? Because I've been struggling with this and actually looking for some help and somebody to just be a boss to me in my own business, take over my business and keep me focused and not, fragmented and working on too many.
I'll tell you what, I think there are times that your brain can do certain things better than others, right? And so on those times where I feel like I have a good schedule going, that I open up my calendar and I put in my calendar the things I'm going to do. Like between this time and this time, I'm going to do 2 or 3 TikTok videos and put those out between this time and this time. And that has really helped me, because I'm the same way. I could be pulled in 1,000 different directions. And I got borderline OCD on stuff where if I'm doing something, I don't want to break away from it. I want to keep doing this one thing. But I try best I can as I put that into a calendar, because if I don't do that, a lot of stuff gets sort of shoved off the reservation. And so, I think for me, that's how, as best I can, because I am kind of scattered. But if I ever lost my calendar, I'd have to go work at the grocery store, because I wouldn't be able to do any of this. My calendar
for the people who are working at a grocery store right now, we're not denigrating that work. That's good work. Good.
It depends on the chain. It depends on the chain. Yeah. If you work for Publix or no, there's some chains that yes, your job sucks, but there are other chains where your job is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, we don't have Publix here. We not New York State. There's no Publix. So there you go.
Aldi. You got Aldi?
Yeah, we have Aldi.
You have all these?
Yeah. Not here. They're getting them in Australia, but we could use them here because food is insanely expensive in this country.
My ex-brother works for Aldi, and he pointed out to me, it's Aldi. It's two guys,
Right.
Al and D.
Right.
Well, I didn't know that. We talked a little bit about marketing your way to success. Is marketing the worst part of your job, the marketing of the books? And if so, do you have any advice for people who are desperately trying to get their books seen or known about?
I think one thing you can do, especially if you're a new author, one thing you should be doing is as you're writing the book, don't wait till you get done. Don't wait till you're finished to say, hey, I finished the book. Take a look at it now. Bring people along in your process. We were talking a little bit about that earlier. That's also one way to get through some of the AI noise, because there's a lot of talk about how many books AI puts out. But I think that when it comes to marketing, bring people early on in your process when you start writing the book and tell them about places you've gone to research, or tell them about characters you've found, or a certain line, whatever. I think, especially for brand new authors, because I do think it's harder to break in now than even just a couple of years ago with all the noise we've got. But I think the marketing is really sort of showing a bit of that process, talking about you putting the book together, not waiting, because a lot of people feel that, well, I don't want to go on social media, I don't want to go on and do some marketing until I get done. It's like, no, bring people into that process, and I think that really helps. When it comes to my stuff, it's like I know that I could do better on various social media platforms if I did X, Y, and Z, but I wouldn't have as much fun with that.
Yeah.
And so I've got to do the stuff that I like.
I'm big on, probably too big on doing the things that are fun to me and things that I like to do. And
that's how you stay. That's sustaining, though, right? Because if you're just going to do this stuff that is sort of prescribed to you, because I know there's a certain type of video, if I do that on TikTok, it'll blow up. But that's not what I want to be doing. I don't want to be doing that sort of thing. I want to do something.
How many times can you show yourself naked on TikTok? Yeah,
exactly. No, I know. I'll tell you what it is. I know that if I do comparisons between New Zealand and the United States, or New Zealand and North America, people love that stuff. But that's not. I just don't care that much about that. A little bit, but not enough to be able to do a lot of it. But every time I do that, it gets a ton of hits.
I'm mad at Ron Kane. He got me off of TikTok, and everybody's still on TikTok. Ron Kane talked me into getting rid of TikTok. I need to be on TikTok. I'm getting back on TikTok. I just decided right here and now.
I tell you what, I'm doing a live on TikTok because, like I mentioned, I've got a narrator who's like 20 years younger than me, and she said, "Oh, you should go live on TikTok." I was like, "I don't know how to do that," so I looked into it, and so coming up here for the launch on the 20th at 7:30 on TikTok, it's me and my narrator. We're going to go live on TikTok, which is going to be weird. It's
at
but
7:30 in the morning here, right, or something like that.
7:30 in the evening. Your Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern time on Wednesday, the 20th. So that'll be Thursday. Thursday at 7:30, because that's my Friday at 11:30, which is pretty great. It's pretty great.
So hard to keep.
It is. I remember doing when I was in radio, and I got sent to Japan when I was in radio, and I did my morning show, and my morning show started like 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. That was pretty sweet. Broadcast back to Orlando, and I don't have to get up at 3:30 in the morning.
That's my time. 1 o'clock in the afternoon is morning to me.
I think that's what I think. I come to think of it now. I think that's what I'm watching. There are quite a few people who have like shows on television, on cable television, and they're like doing the news live, and they have to get up like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're doing the 3 o'clock, because they're doing it live, like CNN. They should get, and I was wondering, because there was a time when it seems like at our wee hours we were seeing more English people doing the news.
Oh yeah,
and now it's like it makes sense because they're already up. You don't have to find some grumpy U.S. citizen, some grumpy Americans. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't need the money. You got somebody. Hello, good morning. Cheerio. I love it here at 3 a.m. for you. It's 3 a.m. for you, but it's bright 9 a.m. for me. I've already had 9 knickers or whatever. So yeah,
right, exactly, right.
Wow. I got on a whim where I was suggesting to our listeners and anybody who might be inclined to call their or write to their library and say, please order the book. Have you ever done that? Because we've seen GD has tried it and proved it to be successful. At least his library responded to it and said they would order the book and let him know.
And I have a letter, and I even have a physical letter that says they'll do it.
Do you ask your readers to do that? Call your library and put it in the
no, I've been what's actually been changed of late, and this is sort of like way inside baseball. I don't think anybody cares about this, but because I'm exclusive on my ebook to Amazon, but in the last this year they've opened it up where we can actually get our ebooks into libraries. I actually have a number of readers, and I don't know how all this stuff works, to be honest, that they'll buy my paperbacks. They'll buy an extra copy and take it to the library. I have they send me photographs of it. Look, I'm putting this into the shelf. Yeah. So that's pretty neat. And I love it. And then in this latest audiobook, that's something that's going to go to libraries. I love libraries. Libraries are the greatest. One of the cool things about libraries, GD, if you've got a relationship with some, is if you tell them, hey, listen, I want to come just read something. Allow them, if you sort of get into that, they'd love to have you do that. Come on by.
Yeah, I'm talking to my local library because I was asked to do a workshop for children to teach them how to do comedy, and that I was asked to do it, and it fell through. It fell through for budgetary reasons, like 2 years ago. But it was in another state. It was it's like an hour drive for me, but the next state was Pennsylvania. I'm in Maryland, and it was like an hour drive, and I said, well, I could do that where I live. I mean, there's a library near my house, and
100%.
And so I reached out to them, and I told them I want to do a workshop for children, for teens, how to do comedy. And I said, I have two goals, or three goals. The first thing is good comedy comes from a place from good tragedy. And so, which means they're experiencing this tragedy right now. So the class would be like a place for them to bring the tragedy, to let it, instead of let it fester, bring it to the surface so they can help start dealing with it now, but also turning it into comedy. But in addition, teaches them how to be a comedian versus a class clown, because class clowns are disruptive. Comedians are, I'm going to say, contribute to society in a healthy way. They expose, they can expose the nonsense in the world.
The emperor no clothes.
Right. So that's what I want to do with the workshop. And they're like, it's great. Now, my only concern is when you start something like that, you have to be willing to finish. You don't want to get these kids started on something and you're like, I'm doing 1 summer, 2 summers. I want to, it's a workshop, like maybe a few weeks in the summer, but I just want to make sure that I really want to follow through with it.
I love libraries, and they are not just for comedians and authors. There's plenty of music work there, music workshops, artists. I got one today just while we were talking. A local library wants to put me in there and do a couple of classes. It's a great way to grow, not just to reach new prospective customers or loyal fans or any of that stuff, but it's just keeping your skills sharp.
But even on the other side of this, I can't remember what the term is. Is it called third spaces? Because you have your home, you have your work, and we're running out of third spaces. It's something like third spaces. So they're closing bowling alleys down. They're closing. There's fewer and fewer movie theaters all the time, and we need those third spaces. That's where the community stuff happens. And so that's what libraries are great for, that sort of thing, and I think more and more, especially with, social media, when we're realizing the sort of damage all that stuff is doing, we're kind of getting more analog these days. And so libraries are a great place for that sort of thing. I'm the same way. I love them.
The library that we have is so nice. It's nothing like the library I grew up with. When I was a kid, the library was where you went to do research. There was nothing else going on. Our library, they have like a kitchen for cooking classes. They have like
cool,
you
right?
can learn to do. They have like this huge room for technology, huge rooms for technology. One of them is filled with 3D printers. You can learn how to do 3D printing.
They've got that up in Auckland. They've got that same sort of thing. In fact, I was sitting in the library in Auckland. This was some years ago, and I heard this like, "What is all that strange music?" And I went upstairs. They were having a ukulele class, and so they're fantastic. They're neat, and they have sort of like you were talking about. They all have kind of a bit of a personality of their own that sort of reflects the community they're in. I love them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, man, I felt like. It's funny because the library's been there for years, and I felt like I discovered this great place. It's like I was the Christopher Columbus of Westminster. I discovered the library,
right?
And I'm claiming it in the name of G.D. Fenderson.
Right. So did you just like genocide everybody at the library? Like,
no, I'm going to enslave them and I'm going to make them serve my purpose.
That worked.
It is cool working with younger people and seeing that creativity, seeing that spark in their eyes. I love that, because not everybody really wants that, and not everybody needs to have that. But every now and then you meet some kid that's a bit weird, for lack of a better expression. They're doing a little bit because we're all strange. All three of us are weird people, but when you meet sort of that.
Four of us.
You're
there's
definitely
two up
you're
here.
definitely
There's two of us up here.
But when you meet other weirdos, it's pretty great.
Yeah. I'm sorry to and I'm not throwing you off. I'm throwing me out. I have to go do a paint class for a bunch of 80-year-olds right now. So, GD, if you would like to be alone with Dick, I will hand it over to you, or we could end this. It's up to you.
Well, let's see. I just want to, before you leave, can we look at some of the heavy cab artwork here that we got?
Yeah, I got like 2 minutes because I gotta go ahead. Show.
Oh, wow. 2 minutes. Okay, well fine. Now here we go. Let's start with this one here, which is there we go. Add to stage. This is
all right. Why is Dick the navigator? All right.
Probably because he's the only one that knows how to operate.
I look like I'm a little person. But that's good. Yeah. I'll take that because I'm actually quite short.
Yeah, well, my nose is the right size for once. There you go.
And this is that's.
See, that doesn't look like me at all. That doesn't look
that's
like
pretty
me
great.
at all. Although,
this is all.
You look at the actor from Whiplash.
I like this one. Mission, truth, humor, and conversation. All right, I like it.
Right.
Oh, more.
Yeah.
He's been working that. He's been working it. Look at that.
And they got my ship in the background. I'm digging that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I hope it's not attacking us.
No. Yeah, that's great.
All right. Well, Dick, I've been very appreciative of you being here this morning. GD loves you and was excited because you booked this like months ago, and he's been on. When's Dick coming back?
I always love talking with you guys. That's why, as I said, I think you're the only show I would get up at 2:00 in the morning to talk to. So I always love chatting with you guys.
We appreciate that. Maybe you and Heavy Cab could go over, get together, and have a glass of Kiwi ale or so, whatever the hell you drink. It's not Foster's, but we appreciate you getting up early.
L&P, they do L&P.
All right.
Wow. It's like kind of a bitter Sprite. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
Well, I have to run, but GD will stay here and talk a little bit more at you.
Sure, we can. Yeah, that'd be great.
Right. Have a great day. Thanks for being here.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
All right. So
finally get rid of that guy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Now the adults can talk. Right. So, what? I have to ask now. What made you not want to do comedy anymore? Because you're still doing comedy in your books, right? You're still humor.
Yeah.
You're still doing the humor. So what made you decide that stand-up wasn't for you?
It's funny. It's what got me into doing stand-up to some extent was I was writing at the time. I just started writing as a younger man. I was in my sort of late teens. And this is obviously way before internet. And so doing stand-up comedy was a way to get published. So I would write something, I'd be able to go up on stage, and then people would hear it. And so
okay.
that's what stand up was for me initially. It wasn't even the desire to get up in front of, because I was actually quite shy.
Right.
It wasn't even the desire to get up and do stand up in front of. I was a huge fan of stand up comedy. I had memorized comedy albums. I love the old, Eddie Murphy and Bob Newhart and Bill Cosby and all that back in the day. I loved all that stuff. And that structure and learning the structure of comedy. And so the reason why I ended up doing stand up, like I said, is just because I would write something during the day, kind of trim it up a bit and get on stage to see if it worked. And that was my way of getting instantly published. And so I did that for about 3 years. And then it was one of those where it's like, well, I don't want to make this necessarily my career, but how can I keep doing something like this? And that's when I transitioned into radio, basically. I did radio for about a dozen years. Basically moving, and it's the same thing. I was still writing, because in radio you're still writing bits and you're still writing, setups and shows and all that sort of thing. And so it's always been writing along the way. I did get back to, when I was doing radio, I got a chance to dip back into stand up a good couple of times. I did some nights with Larry the Cable Guy. I did some nights with Kevin Pollak, who was really great. He was actually really a lot of fun. But yeah, I still dig it, and I actually have sort of quietly wanted to sneak out and do do a 10-minute set here in New Zealand to see if that would work, because New Zealand comedy clubs are quite different than the ones that I knew. But it's funny. There's a guy here named Nick Rado. He's a comedian. He writes for 7 Days, which is a big show here. And he said, you always know when you're doing well for an audience in New Zealand. He said, because if they start listening to you, they're like this. If they really like you, they're like this. So they're not necessarily very vocal. But yeah, you go from crossed arms to your arms relaxed, and they know, they think you're funny. So, but I think give it a shot. I think give it a shot.
There was there are like a lot of different people when it comes to a club and stuff, and there was one guy. I remember one guy in particular who sat in the front row. I was headlining. He was sitting in the front row, and he didn't laugh for anybody. So I didn't expect him to laugh. He was just like this. And once I was on stage, I could see his face. And he would do this. He would just nod. He'd go like that. Not laugh.
All right.
He'd just do this. Just a little nod. Just this little nod. And then I said something, and he points at me and says, "Now that's funny." And then pulled his arms back up. That was like a standing ovation for him to just go through, to just say, "Now that's funny." So
well, it's funny because that's how comics talk to each other. Because for the most part, comics don't laugh at each other's jokes.
That's
we didn't when we were coming up. We didn't be like, "Oh, that's funny," and that's all you would get from somebody. "Oh, that's good. That's funny." No, that's really funny. That's extremely funny. And they're not laughing. They're just telling you, like, as a judgment. They're not going to sit and bust the gut. But
yeah,
that's quite funny.
Now I'm a fan of comedy, so if I'm into what they're doing, in other words, because for me, you have to dispel belief. In other words, you have to forget that you're another comedian. You're a comedian watching another comedian. You all of a sudden you forget, and you're a fan of comedy. And then I will. When that happens, I laugh out loud.
If you're in a club setting, it's different, right?
You're in open mics. I will laugh out loud at open mics, and that's how sometimes I know when I've got real comedy gold, when the comedians are laughing just like the civilians.
The cameras. I hate this camera. Yeah, no, I dig that, and I actually miss the open mics. There was such a great grassroots kind of feel. Open mics, they were pretty great, and like I said, I think I'd like to try it out here because I grew up with a Kiwi father. And so he was one of my first audiences. And so it'd be kind of fun in a way to get out here and see if I can make Kiwi. But I tell you what, if you can't make him laugh, that's a long 10 minutes. That's the longest minute in the world is when you're up on stage and nobody's laughing. That's the worst.
Have you ever LNP? So apparently that's the local brew.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Lee and Peroni or something. I can't remember what it is.
So now that you're an adult, but you've lived.
Wow.
You've lived in. Well, I'm saying chronologically, you're an adult.
Exactly.
You lived in New Zealand. You lived in Canada. So. What is your comfort food? What do you eat that makes you feel like a kid again? Is it a New Zealand dish, or is it a Canadian dish, or is it something?
No, do you know what it is? A lot of times, it's like with a lot of people, it's your poor people dish.
Okay.
It's like, You know what I mean? Because I didn't know it at the time. Yep. Where when I was growing up, and every now and then, we're having Kraft macaroni and cheese and stewed tomatoes. Yep. And what it was is just we didn't have a lot of dough at home at that time, and so we were eating poor food. And
if you had a lot of dough, you could be making bread. If you had a lot of dough, you could make some bread to go with the macaroni and cheese.
But it was, the macaroni cheese was what back then was probably 35 cents a box, and then a tin of tomatoes was 25 cents. So this was a way to feed your family, and for some reason that was something that resonated when I was a kid, and so to this day, if I'm looking for that comfort food, it's definitely. How about you? What is your comfort
It's funny.
food?
My wife and I were talking about it. For my wife, it's macaroni and cheese. Now I have comfort food and I have the poor food. I have both, because I didn't eat the poor food until I was like in my 20s. Okay, and I was actually holding down a place and have car note and family and my poor food was oodles and noodles with an egg in it.
Oh, there you go. Oh, an egg.
Ramen, because it's like yakame, I guess. Because the water would be hot,
right, sure.
And you break the egg and put it in there, and then the egg would cook.
Right.
And that's what it was. That was my poor food. So you got the protein from the egg, and the flavor from the packets. So,
the MSG, right? Perfect.
Yes, but my comfort food I think it's still lasagna.
Really?
That's
complicated. That's some complicated food, brother.
Yeah. And peanut butter and jelly. I love peanut butter and jelly too.
Right. Yeah.
So but my poor food was the ramen noodles with the raw egg and just drop it. It cooks inside the hot water, and that's it. Yeah.
My father used to make us borscht every now and then, and that's one thing and borscht is just beet soup. And food shouldn't be purple. That's not good, because to make it taste better, it tells you how. I mean, I know there might be people that love borscht, and I didn't as a kid. And to make it taste better, we put sour cream in there. And if you're putting sour cream in something to make it taste better, you're starting real low bar. It wasn't great. But it was just purple, and put the sour cream in there, it was pink.
In your book, do they have a poor food? I mean, it's obviously they're going through difficulties. What's their poor food, or is it?
It's funny. I do have some scenes where, because they are broke in the beginning, especially. I got some scenes where they talk about how the previous crew, the one that got blown up in a fireball, that the Laidlaw, who was their old pilot, he would dry out stuff, and so they weren't exactly sure. It was meat of some sort. It could be
meat of engineer,
chicken, could be beef. Yeah, exactly. It could be squirrel. Not really sure, but it was protein. You dried out enough, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's funny because a lot of that stuff you don't really get into so much when it comes to science fiction stories and stories in general. There's not a whole lot of talk a lot of times about the comfort, but about comfort foods or foods in general. But I do spend a little bit of time, especially in the prequel, in the galley. And I try to make it feel a bit homey. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a kick. I've really enjoyed living in this particular world, but science fiction can be a little bit fraught, as I say, because there's some people that read science fiction and they're looking for any mistakes you might make. Right. And I'll tell you what, if you read my stuff, you'll find plenty of mistakes, or whatever it might be, because I'm not writing this as a dissertation on physics or cosmology. It's just sort of using that as a bit of I try and keep it as true as I can. I'm not just making stuff up. You're not going to hear explosions in space because there's no oxygen, all that sort of thing. But for the most part, that's kind of secondary. I'm not Asimov. I'm not Heinlein. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not Frank Herbert when it comes to any of that stuff. I'm just trying a fun story in this package.
But if you're inside the ship, you would hear the explosion, and then but then you wouldn't hear the echo like when thunderclap. If there's a thunderclap here, it rumbles and rolls across the countryside, even though it struck over there. So if a spaceship blew up, the people inside the ship they'd be like the only ones to hear it. And it'd be like,
real briefly. Real brief here, yeah.
And then nobody else will hear anything. Anybody like in the next ship over would be like, "Ooh, that looks bad."
Yeah, what was that bright light and all that fire? That seems like a bad time, right? Exactly. Right.
Now, Heavy Kev wrote Red Dwarf, Hitchhiker's Guide, Drool. Now, I'm not familiar with Drool. I
don't know either.
but he's talking about other science fiction type books that didn't necessarily have to be correct. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same thing about Hitchhiker's Guide. Hitchhikers was a little more farcical,
Right.
but was brilliant. And that's sort of like where I cut my teeth because, and I've said this before, that when I first got into reading, I was like 8 or 9 years old. My father handed me The Wind in the Willows, which put me off reading for 2 or 3 years. And then
Is that the one with the frog and toad?
Yeah, it was just too dense for an 8-year-old. And so, like in my early teens, I discovered Hitchhiker's Guide, and it was one of those things like, oh, so you can have any rules, anything goes. And I mean, of course, you've got to adhere to like character and structure to some extent,
right?
But the idea that let your mind wander and go anywhere you want to, and that was real eye opening for me when I was writing, when I was first reading, and then later on when I was writing. So yeah, I love Hitchhiker's Guide and all that. I love all those stories. Good Omens. I read when I was growing up, Terry Pratchett and Neil. Yeah, I love stories that kind of push it a bit. And there's a good number of artists right now. There's a good number of writers at the moment that are doing some pretty creative things. That it's always changing. The market. I mean, the stuff that is being written right now is stuff that you wouldn't find 30 years ago. And you try and read something from 80 years ago. So writing is always a bit of a reflection of what's happening sort of in society at that time. But at the same time, there's always sort of themes through humanity. There's always like, we just saw the Odyssey come on theaters and make $1 billion. It's because, it's a 3,000-year-old story, but it's the same sort of human themes all the way through. It's just expressed in a different way.
And it's not just that they've made like a 6th version of it. It's like, and that's part of the reason why I haven't gone to go see it, because even though I'm hearing good things about it, it's like I've seen 6 versions or 5 versions of it. I don't need another one. I can wait.
Right.
Even though it's an IMAX, the whole thing. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm not.
There's some contemporary. There's some contemporary language in there that kind of throws you off base a bit. Like Tom Holland's character, I think it was. It says, "Oh, when's Dad coming back?" Dad. So there's a little bit of that, which is good. But like I said, it's a creative choice, and people seem to like it. So no shade on that if it's working.
Yeah, it works if that's his actual name, but as far as as far as his actual father,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I guess I've that's the only reason I haven't done that, but gone to see it. Now I know when my little girl, she did not like to write. She liked to read and she loved art, and but part of her schooling, her education required her to do some writing. And that was like pulling teeth. And so I basically told her that writing is like painting pictures in people's brains directly. That's what words are. You're taking words and you're painting pictures. And then she took off and just loved writing, because then she realized she was manipulating other people's brains. Into thinking what she into thinking the way she wanted them to think and seeing what she wanted them to see. It was like, wait a minute, I can manipulate people. I love this.
Right.
So what was?
Yeah, I think for me, like when I was coming up, when I was first starting, I was a real shy kid. For one, I was a Canadian coming into the United States, and it's a very different attitude. So I was 9, 10 years old when I went to Jersey. First place I was in, I went to 6th grade in New Jersey, 5th grade in New Jersey, and so it was really eye opening because the American style was far more loose and aggressive than some of the Canadian style was, and so it was quite quiet. And so I was very shy, especially those first couple of years. And writing was a way for me to sort of like be less shy, because I could write something down on a page and then turn that in, or write something down on a page and end up reading in class. And it didn't feel like I was sort of like exposing myself. And so that was an outlet for me to express my personality. And I was really lucky that I had a couple of teachers that were like, "You're kind of a weird dude." They didn't exactly put it that way, but I had teachers that really sort of were okay with what I was doing. And so the strange sort of ideas that I had, and I say strange, they weren't overly strange, but they weren't necessarily cookie cutter falling in line with what some of the other guys were doing, some of the kids were doing. And so I think the teachers that I had when I was going to school, and this was later on mostly in Minnesota, in Edina, and they were a huge influence on me. And I don't know that I would be doing doing that today had it not been for some really influential teachers in my life. So I love teachers. They're great.
Now, Heavy Kev wrote, what modern stuff should I be reading? You should be reading Dick Wybrow because he's a fellow Kiwi and he's modern. He's right here. It doesn't get more modern like right now.
Do you know, it's funny, you know, it depends on the stuff you sort of like. And I know that seems obvious, but a lot of people feel as though, you know, you should pick up the stuff the most popular stuff out there right now. There's one we were just talking about earlier today. It's called There Is No Anti-Memetics Division. I think that's what it's called. And if you're looking for something that's kind of out there, the author's name is Quantum, I think, QTMN or something like that. And it's really bright. It's it's fun. It's a little experimental, and it's one of those things that is, if you're a science fiction kind of person, it's one of those things that you go in and you realize that you might not get all this, which is fine, which is totally fine. I actually kind of like stories like that, but it's really creative. I love that. I like Joe Abercrombie. I think he's fantastic. He's got a great sense of humor. I like stuff that doesn't take itself too seriously. And sort of, I think his stuff, he does sort of some sword and sorcery kind of fantasy stuff. But he's got an amazing sense of humor. I love stuff. Matt Demian's done really well with the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I think he's got 8 books now that have been turned into, and he's an independent author as well. It's being turned into a television series, live action television series. And it's also like comic books and everything. So he's doing amazing. It's fun. It's fun to, like right now, especially because the avenue is open with self-publishing. There is sort of this smorgasbord of stuff out there. There's a lot of crap out there too. Of course there is.
Yeah.
There's people that read my stuff and think it's crap. There's plenty of people that probably think that. But the cool thing is trying to find your tribe, for lack of a better expression. You know, how does my weird sort of resonate with your weird? And when you find those people like that, it's pretty great. It's kind of neat, and you're kind of build a community around that. So yeah, look around, sort of, you know, talk to the people that you know, and go in the groups, and it's a cool way to find something you really love and find other people that love it as well, and sort of. And reading is sort of that community that can do that. We don't really have that so much with television anymore. Right. You know, when back in the day when we all loved a good TV show or something, you know, the next day we all go to work and talk about it. Those days are kind of over. And so books are one of those things that we still have communities, like with book clubs and all that sort of thing. It's a way to sort of share community with other people through this creation, through writing.
Well, I know that you're because what you just remind me, there's like book clubs, but there was never, I don't think there was ever a TV club, you know. I mean, there were movie clubs. I think people would like talk about a movie or something, but yeah, there were and to this day, there still are book clubs, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're great. I love a good book club. And like I said, I get contacted by them every now and then. And if there are any book clubs listening, that if you guys are reading one of my books, I'll zoom into that. I have a conversation with you all about it. Those are always fun. You know, I love talking with other readers, and it's fun to hearing the insight from other folks about something that you've written. I had somebody, I was talking about this earlier, somebody contact me and ask me about a book that I wrote back in 2019. And they were really specific about, like, oh, why did Raz do that one thing with this Anza and then with Uncle Jerry? And it's like, I don't know.
Is because at the time you didn't think about it, or it's like it's been you're so far removed from it?
Yeah, I've written about 11 books since then, so I don't even remember. I don't even remember what I was thinking of when I did that. But I try to write, and that's why a lot of times I don't try to prescribe too much in my stories. I try and let my characters tell me where things are going, you know. And I know that may not be what works for a lot of different people, but for me that works because it feels more germane to what the character arc might be or what the story arc might be. Let the characters grow inside of you, and then at that point you're just pretty much transcribing what they're saying to some extent, and there's a sincerity about that I love.
Now, are there books that you've written that at the time you wrote them you had, let's say, one particular feeling or interpretation of how that book should be, but now years later you look at that book and go, well, maybe it wasn't about that after all, you know?
Oh, it's funny you say that, because like when people talk about themes, right? It's like, what's the theme of a particular book? For the most part, you don't go and say the theme of the book is going to be this. You know, you can do that. It's kind of prescriptive. You can do that. But usually I write a book and I'll take a look. And if there's some more theme or something resonating, It's something I find out afterwards. And so it's not something like I'm really cognizant of at the time. And I have a running sort of theme in all my books. In fact, even the most recent one with the Fastlight Con is like a lot of my stories are populated by characters that are kind of throwaway people in a way, or people that that other people might ignore or whatever it be. And those people, when a couple of them come together, they can do incredible things. And so I never planned on that being a particular theme of mine. But I have noticed in retrospect, and other people pointed out to me, that a lot of my stories about, they're not, like even like the latest one, the Fastlight Con, Feynman she is out of an entire crew, she's the least experienced out of anybody. And everybody else dies like in a fireball, and she's got to take over now. So she's somebody who she's putting, this is way above her pay grade. She's now the captain of a ship, and she doesn't even know she barely knows how to fly the darn thing. And also she's got to get involved in these cons where she was always the junior, but now she's got to lead this team. So she's out of her depth. And I kind of like that in a way, because it so often feels like that in life, that things are handed to us and we're totally out of our depth. And just when we're starting to get our hands on it, that's when life goes, hey, how about I make this 10 times harder? And that's kind of like how a lot of time my stories go. And the fun part is watching these sort of misfits, for lack of a better expression, kind of come together and work out how to solve these problems. And that's fun. And to me, that's a lot of fun, because in a lot of cases, that's sort of what life is about. We're thrown into situations that really feel like we can't handle them, that we don't have the tools to do it. But, in the end, most of the times we can kind of pull it off. And a lot of times it takes help from other people, which is sort of like what we've got in these stories.
Now you've got you've got a good number of books. So there are some books that were fortunate enough to become sayings, so to speak. They're part of our lexicon. It's like we'll say a catch-22. Okay, right. It's not just a book. It is now a thing. 1984, that's a thing. Right. So of your books, is there a title that you think could become a thing?
Less about a title, but I have had people that have read, because I just finished up the Kane series. It's the Wolfware series. Everybody calls it the Kane books or Kane series. But I've had people tell me that there are lines in there, that there are little jokes in between jokes, or things that characters that say to one another. Like one of the things that Kane always says, he just says, I am wolf. Rather than I am a wolf, he says, I am wolf. And I've had a good number of people tell me that that's just sort of a thing that they throw around their family all the time. That they'll shout across a room or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty neat when something that you have resonates with other people, and they end up being kind of part of their lives. Because we have that too. When I was growing up, there were lines that, let's say, David Letterman might have said that he never thought twice about. They, me and my friends, ended up being catchphrases among my friends. Right. So I do have those moments. You can't prescribe those. You can't sit down and say, oh, I'm going to write, they just have to come organically. But yeah, those are pretty neat. I really dig that. And you take a look at.
Oh, no, just there's Seinfeld. And I'm not even a huge Seinfeld fan, but there's an episode they wrote, and they wrote it thinking that this one particular phrase was going to catch on, and the phrase was sponge-worthy. And they really thought that there's like, she says, is that man sponge-worthy? Is he sponge-worthy? And so that, they really thought that was going to catch on. But from that episode, what caught on was yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And that was not what they thought was going to catch on.
It's kind of like, for the most part, like viral videos in a way. Yeah, you can create a construction that a lot of people will respond to. You get something that catches their attention the first couple of seconds, and you drag them to, for the minute or whatever. But it really comes down to the stuff that really turns viral, or the stuff that really blows up. It sort of just happens on its own. And in retrospect, you can see why it might work. But when you try and make that happen, like, you probably don't remember, but there was in the second Bill and Ted movie. It's a weird example, but in the second Bill and Ted movie, I'll never forget this. I think it was originally called Bill and Ted Go to Hell. I think it's Bogus Adventure. I think they ended up changing the name to. But there is a character called Station. And why I bring it up is because you can see that they were orchestrating that for people to say, like, this means cool, like Station. And they would do that all through the movie. Almost like they were hoping that they would get people that would for random reasons that this would be the new word for cool. And after a while, I was like, okay, enough. We've heard it. We're not buying it.
It's kind of, I think they were probably reaching for the same thing that Wayne's World had, like excellent, you know.
Yeah. But all that stuff that was sort of just germane to the characters, and them doing it. And then when they took off, like any of the Arnold lines back in the day, Arnold Schwarzenegger lines, some of them were cheeseball and designed on purpose. But like, I'll be back. Who ever thought that thing would have resonated for 35, 40 years?
He did not want to say that line. In interviews, he didn't want to say that line. And once he realized it's like, he fought that tooth and nail. There was a big controversy over that one line between him and whoever the director was at the time. Yeah.
Cameron. Yeah. Right.
Well, look, I appreciate you sticking out with us. People out there, if you check out all of the works of Dick Wybrow and also the new book, Facilite Con. Did I say that right?
Facilite Con. It comes out here on the 20th, and it's ebook and paperback. And like I mentioned earlier, we have Amy Hutchins, who has done the narration for it, and she's amazing. And if you're somebody who's on TikTok, join us coming up here on Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern on TikTok. You can find me or Amy, and we're going to do a live there, give away some audiobooks. So come check that out.
All right, cool, man. Thanks. I appreciate you being back and doing this with us, man. It's
always love talking to you guys. All right, y'all take care.
All right, bye now.
Bye.
That was Dick Wybrow from New Zealand. I'm gonna say fantasy author extraordinaire. I'm just trying to get this cover out the way. This is not my milieu. I'm not the one usually doing this. This is Matt's job. But Matt bailed on us, so it's okay. There we go. Thank you for hanging out with us even after Matt left. Check us out tomorrow. I do not know what tomorrow brings. I do not know what tomorrow's show is about. I didn't look ahead. And I can't look ahead right now. So there's 2 more pictures I want to show you from the Heavy Kev collection. This one here. I've got to remember. I've got to remember the style, the names of the styles that are used here, so that I can use the shorthand. Because I haven't learned the styles. I haven't, and they have names. They have specific names, and Heavy Kev knows what these are, and I just forget. Oh, there we go. I like this. I like this a lot. I can't remember what it's called, but in New Zealand and some of the like American Sway, there's like these little war dances that you do, and you're trying to that stuff. I like that. I've always liked that. I've always liked it. I liked it even before I knew what it was. When I used to play sports, I was not a huge person, and so I would intimidate people by doing little awkward things that were a little bit scary. You know, my hair was very long, and so I could take it and I would like just stick it in my mouth and cry. And people just thought that was weird, you know. And I would just shave my hair. Yeah. Wouldn't do that now as an adult, but I did that in my 20s and 30s when I played sports. So, guys, thank you for hanging out. And I'm trying to decide. It's not Thursday, so I'm not going to play my song. I am going to play Matt's song, Turn On Your Radio. And guys, thank you, and be safe out there. And if you're going to be out there, if you're going to be walking around, walk around nappy.
I
to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.